Hello and welcome to episode.
You crossed the road, son.
Dude, with a sword like that?
Yeah.
Good God.
New apartment's gonna not mess with it.
Conan.
I
like it.
I feel the imbuement of magic from that sword coming through the screen. It's incredible. Well,
It'd definitely be a purple, that sword, for sure.
At least.
It's at least legendary.
Logpowerslave, thank you for joining us tonight. How you doing, man?
You're welcome, man. I'm good. Good to be here.
nice.
So you're joining us from the down under.
Yep, the other side of the planet. We've, before the show, covered off on all of the insane differences between where I'm from and where you guys are from.
Yeah, that opposite world, right?
It's upside down world, man.
Yeah, everything.
You guys are standing upside down while sitting. Anyway,
Yeah.
Isn't it a weird thought?
Unless you're a flat earther.
That's a weird thought.
Right? If you're a flat earther, you don't believe in that, which is pretty wild. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't help those people, man.
Nobody can.
Hemispherical
Honestly.
earther.
They're too far out. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be more convenient. It'd be more convenient as a streamer or content creator because it'd mean that time zones wouldn't actually work the way they do, right? If the Earth was flat, we'd all just be able to play with each other whenever.
Exactly.
So I can see the
That's
benefit.
Yeah.
I watched the best documentary. It was about these guys that like really believe in it, and they're gung ho about the flat Earth. And at the very end of the movie, the documentary, they started doing experiments by like shining lasers like far distances.
Yeah.
Because the theory was like there's no curvature to the Earth, so it would just be a straight line. And they just constantly disproved their own theory, like using these lasers. But they're like, there's really more research has to be done.
Yeah.
And they got like these high-powered gyroscopes. They got all sorts of equipment.
oh, that's
like,
interesting.
Really
Huh.
expensive stuff. It was actually the best part of the movie was just looking at their faces as they like realize
proving it wrong and then being like, let's just not believe this.
Inconclusive.
Yeah, the data's inconclusive.
Can you guys
Not
not
only that.
release this part of the stuff you filmed in the documentary?
Pretty
I
much.
have to say no.
It's going to make us look really bad.
We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on proving how stupid we are. Wow.
Science,
I would
right?
edit that out. Yeah, it's science. I mean, you got to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how do people know you, Log?
Well, I do a couple of things. First and foremost, I'll do another podcast, which the
All right,
Destiny Down Under
let's
podcast.
not
We don't
talk
allow
about that.
cross promotion of those.
Yeah, I know.
This is a
I just wanna-
really touchy subject. All right.
Do you want I'll tell you a funny story about the DDU, and it doesn't, this is basically started it to, just so that Australians had a point of call, right? Because when I first started doing this sort of stuff, Mylan I thought he was the only Australian in Destiny, which, is wrong, quite clearly. But we sort of wanted to do it as a bit of a community hub, but we thought, look, we'll start this podcast and we'll do this. And this is around the time that you guys were wrapping up on the Planet Destiny stuff. And literally the week that we decided that we were going to launch the DDU, you guys launched the DCP. Anyway, we'll still do it.
That's amazing.
Well, it's going to be great. We'll get guests on and all that sort of shit. But yeah, it's it's great. It's a good, fun thing to be part of. And I think it does its job in terms of being a port of call for Aussies around the traps. So
That's cool.
Good.
Yeah, podcasts are fun.
Yeah.
It's a nice place to just hang out and just talk with people that have similar interests to you, especially if it's, focused around being Australia and stuff. It's a nice place to look for people to do raids with, do PvP with, because I see it in our
That's a
chat
good
all
point.
the time. People finding people to play with.
I think that's one part of it. It's we're a little bit different. I mean, everyone's a little bit different to everywhere else, really. But there's some of our mannerisms and things like that I will make a point of not bringing here. there's a level of language that is probably not appropriate on any other podcast.
Oh, you might be surprised.
I believe you're supposed to be giving Briar a language lesson, so maybe
That's
we
right.
are
Yeah,
we're bringing that to the podcast.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn how to
Save it for
swear
later.
in Australian effectively tonight.
Yeah, okay. I'll do my best. but yeah, it's it's one of those things. It's just a little point of call, and it's a good routine thing, I think, too. It's just we get to digest what's going on in Destiny by talking about it with mates and whatnot, and can't do better than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's actually pretty important to me. Is part of adulthood means that friendships can be harder to maintain because family and jobs and stuff get in the way. But what a podcast kind of lets you do is have an appointment with your friends.
Yeah.
Right. So every Thursday night we're gonna get together and we're gonna bullshit for, well, it used to be an hour, then it was 2 hours, now it's 3 hours.
And when you add in pre and post show ass grabbing, it's like 4 hours of just.
The ass grabbing is my favorite part, Holtz.
I've noticed.
That's what this is about, isn't it? It's just an excuse to ass grab. That's it.
That's
There you go.
But yeah, like in that sense, it's actually really it's an excellent tool to like spend some time with your friends and
to force
hang out.
friendship.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was like that, Watts.
Yeah.
Awkward. It is one of those things. I think our podcast is a little bit the same in that I just still don't understand why Mylan puts up with that shit. Really, 2/3 of our
Mylan's like
content
me.
is
Mylan's me on your podcast. All right.
just 2/3 of our content is just ribbing him about law or have you been outside this week, Matt? And like garbage.
I knew there was a reason like Mylan and I just like connected, aside that the very first thing that he did for me when he came to the US for like the community summit, and he's like, Holtz, I brought you magic cards. I'm like, fucking sweet.
Wow.
Did you hear the backstory to that?
Yeah, he basically he like got stopped at the customs there like multiple times. I think he missed his flight and had to get another one due to bringing me the magic cards.
Wow. Like, did the foil wrappers like set something off or something?
No, it was just a box full of magic cards, and it looks like plastic explosives because it's tightly packed shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Customs
me and
do not
Tefty
like
went to
magic cards.
me and Tefty went to the Borderlands event, and we just got back. But one of the things they gave us were these plastic masks.
Yes.
That are like in the shape. I wish I had one. I should have brought it with me. But it's a
the Borderlands
mask in the
mask.
shape of like the Borderlands mascot. There were questions asked. My bag got opened up and searched.
Don't put that in your carry-on, man. You gotta be careful. There's terrorists these days packing magic cards in Borderlands. The new face of terror. Who knew?
So you're also known for music, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, sort of coming out of the back of the podcast, I love doing that, but I also wanted to do my own thing, and I realized that I'm not actually good at Destiny in any capacity. Like, I'm pretty average at just about everything, so I thought I'll just pinch a skill that I've learned in other aspects of my life and just start making parody songs, and I'm about that. I like making people laugh. That's really all I'm here for. So to be able to do that and find sort of an outlet that marries up Destiny and music and getting better at sort of the production side of things, which is something that I'm new to, but I've got Nick who whips me and tells me all the things I'm doing wrong, which is wonderful.
Nice. Yep.
So we're slowly getting
that
there.
whip.
Yeah, it's considerable. A long range whipping. But he always phrases it really nice, like, you need to consider this. Not like, this bit is shit. Maybe you should think about changing this log. But yeah, that's the other thing I do. So I do parodies, and I play a bit of guitar on stream, and I'm sort of moving more towards, I'd like to be able to do more live music stuff.
Nice.
Old Dan Drumstone, every time he finds his way into my feed, I'm like, man, I want to do that. That is the coolest shit ever. But
he posted on Twitter, I think it was the day I was leaving LA, and it was him just saying, have an awesome day, and then doing like an awesome drum solo. I'm like, fuck yeah, man. What a way to send a message.
The problem with being Australian is he does that every morning, so I get it every night, and I'm like getting into bed going, yeah,
Pumped up.
can't wait to sleep, man. But ultimately, that'd be what I'd want to do, like a stream and do the YouTube stuff, but like really doing parody songs in the age of Article 13 is probably one of those things that I'm walking a very fine line doing, and I don't know really how long I'll be able to do it for, but I'll do it until I can't.
You just got to switch to original music.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It's
there's that.
right?
But
Yeah,
everything I've ever written up until that is just out and out metal, and that kind of niches it a bit. There's a bit less of a demographic that appeals to, rather than piss takes of the Offspring or whatever.
Honestly, I feel like there's a huge metal scene in gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think there is.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
From
the
what
other
I've
thing
seen.
that I've noticed is that there's like metal, and there's this weird like metal, and then metal people who want to chill out, listen to synthwave and gaming.
Yeah.
There's like this triangle of I don't know what that's about, but I mean I love all of it. So
Yeah, I did a little research on that actually. It's roots of it being 80s nostalgia. So that the synthwave has the 80s nostalgia, but they want to listen to something new, obviously. So that combined with metal elements, it creates this like interesting synergy that's happened with synthwave and metal, and like Dance with the Dead is one of a great hybrid of those coming together.
Oh, dude,
You know?
love that.
Yeah. It's really fascinating, honestly.
So
It's one of
what
those
was your
things that I
start?
can-
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's one of those things that I've dabbled in, like writing. But I'm at the point of like, I am well outside of my box here. So I've got no, I mean, what I really need to do is just record something and then send it to Nick, and he'll tell me what I've done wrong. And then I'll be able to put it out. So yeah, that'll be fun.
What was your start in Destiny? Where did you begin playing Destiny, and what got you your foot in the door, like getting involved in the community?
I played Halo, like that's, as we were talking about before the show. I came from the Halo side of the thing. Like, I still think Reach is probably the best story game I've ever played in that respect. But really, for me, I didn't intend on doing all of this sort of stuff. I started a clan, and I started Terra Australis, which is still going today and is on every platform and whatnot. But I kind of got about the time that we were doing Crota, and like this will sound really fucking naive, but I didn't even know what streaming was. and we got to the point where there was too many of us to all fit into a voice chat, and it was just like chaos of just however many people, 16 people or whatever, all trying to talk. So I think the next reveal was that Bungie did was Goth and their House of Wolves thing, and I'm like, what is a Twitch streamer? that was how I found out about that, and I thought, well, like maybe I need to do that to be able to let more people be involved in what's going on, because that was what it was really all about. It's we're not a clan that sweats or anything like that. It's all about banter and having a laugh. So it sort of evolved from that, and then sort of meeting Matt down the line. And going, well, like there's a lot of Australians that do great things. It sort of evolved from there. And then, yeah, music's just the thing that I do to keep myself out of trouble, more or less.
Did you start with Vanilla Destiny?
Yeah. I played, from the beta onwards. So I don't know. It's one of those things that you kind of look back on with rose-tinted glasses now. It all seems like the Elysian fields and perfect, but we've been through some shit as a community, that's for sure.
That's true.
Very true.
A little bit.
Yep.
Any more questions for Log, or should we move on to the
juicy
B3?
TWAB?
What do you typically?
We can cover the TWAB in about 5 seconds. So.
What are you typically streaming nowadays? Right now?
What do I?
Yeah.
Me, just, I streamed Borderlands the other night.
Okay.
But really just Destiny.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
I know what I do okay, so I do that. And it's like, it gives me,
If you're doing a Destiny stream, like what do you typically dig into? Is it everything, or is it raids, or is it PvP?
Probably more Gambit and PvP. Probably more Gambit and PvP than anything. Like I get a bit bored doing the strikes and stuff like that.
Sure.
And raids, because I really only get maybe 8 hours a week to be streaming. Like blasting through raids at the back end of seasons is fine, but I'm not really the forefront of doing that when they first drop. So it's really like, for me, we're doing the guitar stuff. If I'm playing Crucible and I can, play Crucible and then, in the lobby times that are getting longer and longer as the player base drops off, I can play guitar. So it works out all right. So I'm always able to do something.
So guitar
So the-
intermissions between matches.
Yeah.
I like it.
That
Yeah.
sounds great.
What are the matchmaking times like for you in down there in Aussie land?
It varies. I mean, quick play is okay. You're probably looking at a couple of minutes. Comp is another beast entirely.
A couple minutes for quick play?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Wow.
I'd have to look at it.
Yeah. No, I'm just,
It's
thinking
long
about
enough to play quite a bit of guitar. If that is a metric of time.
Yeah.
A bit of
I'll
guitar
work it out.
as a metric of time.
I'll work it out in bars and I'll get back to you, Teft. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. It's like a
4/4
fast tempo
time, about
song,
134 bars.
It really depends on when you're on, but I mean, peak time it's still not that bad down here. I mean, I play on PC, so there's still, I think, a pretty solid rusted on community that is always playing, especially over weekend and things like that. But once it gets towards late night in Australia, it really, you either see terrible connections because we're connecting to the States or wherever else, or really long wait times. So that's just where it is at the moment.
How is the internet nowadays in 2019 for Australia?
It's actually good.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, it still cops a lot of shit, but I think that's by virtue of distance.
Sure.
Where it is to everywhere else. For me, I'm lucky in that I live, basically we have fiber to the node internet for the most part of the country, which is
nice.
Optical to a node that's in your street and then traditional copper lines from there. And the node is out the front of my house. So,
there you go.
Nice.
Yes. But for, it's not like that for the whole country and they're still rolling that out. So it's getting better. We are, maybe one day we'll not be the butt of the internet connection jokes, but I don't really see that changing. And it's one of those things that we kind of have that backhanded pride of. Whenever anyone brings up lag, we're like, oh, you think you know lag?
You haven't seen anything lag.
I was born in a lag.
Exactly.
Just turned into a bit of Bane and
Yeah. Well, we should talk about that.
I must confess, I have been sleeping since about noon. I woke up to do the podcast, and I have not read the TWAB. So what's going on with the TWAB?
Revelry is ending soon. You might want to pick up stuff. There's a patch on Tuesday where they're nerfing Spectral.
Okay.
Here's movie of the week.
That's it?
All right.
Yeah.
I legit thought there was something in the TWAB and I didn't read it. And I was like, all right, let's get
That's-
some
that's
When
juicy
you
TWAB.
brought it up,
That's-
I was like, geez, I got to go log into this.
I know, right?
At the end of the TWAB, I think it was Cosmo was like, hey, we know there's not really a lot to talk about it.
They
See
said
you
they're
next
going to be
week.
talking about Season of Opulence towards June. Closer towards June.
So thank God that there was Borderlands 3 reveal thing, and
Yeah.
you guys went to it.
Oh,
Before we
yes.
move on to that,
Segue.
I know that sometimes even we like to give them shit for a TWAB that's not, we call it a TWAB when it's not juicy full of information. But I do appreciate that they reach out every week, and give us something. Right? Is they talk about something. They talk to the community about something.
Yeah.
We get mad because sometimes we feel like they're not communicating as much as we want them to. But I do like that once a week, even if they don't have much to say, they say something.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think they picked a pretty good week to have a light on episode 2.
Not a bad week.
Able to talk about Borderlands and a whole heap of other stuff. So maybe they just thought, look, let's just save the big shit till next week and let everyone talk about what they're hyped for.
True. Well, honestly, I do feel like we're in that season of the drought. There's usually
Season of the drought.
it's a season. There's a yearly drought that typically
seasonal
hits.
drought.
It's a seasonal drought with Destiny, and this is typically the time, roughly around. Last year we did have some new stuff that happened, but there was that it's in and around this time. So I feel like it's normal for us Destiny players
Yeah, we've got about a month till we get new stuff, and
Yeah.
this is usually the time that things start slowing down a little bit. And I kind of I'm at the point with Destiny where I having fun playing it? All right, I'll play it. If I'm not, I'll go do something else.
Yeah.
But I kind of just take it for what it is right now, and I'm not expecting, a major sandbox update next week or
Yep.
anything like that. I'm kind of just waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same for me.
Me and Tefty did go see Borderlands 3.
Yes, we did.
They flew us out. They paid, like, full disclosure, they flew us out. They paid for our hotel, and they served drinks at the event.
Yes. Fact.
They got Briar drunk, so take everything he
Briar
says with
was
a pinch
getting
of
drunk.
salt.
Briar and I weren't in the same time slot, which really sucks. So we couldn't hang out and drink,
Aw.
which would have been amazing.
Yeah, we were opposite.
Yeah, he was in
We
the
were
afternoon. I was in the morning.
But we both got to play it.
Yep.
Tefty, I believe you got to play 3 hours of it. I only got to play an hour and a half of it.
Mm-hmm.
I played as Zane, but you got to play both characters. Is that correct?
Yeah, for my capture
Zane
session, which was the previous day, I got to play as Amara, which was really great because, like, even as a fan of Borderlands, I felt pretty overwhelmed with how much was like new and improved, but still Borderlands type of thing. So having that like session in the morning or a session the previous day was really good for me. I needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta say, my biggest fear going into Borderlands 3 was that I never actually liked the way that Borderlands gunplay has felt.
Mm-hmm.
Like compared to a Call of Duty or a Halo, like it always felt like I don't mean this to be insulting, but it always felt like a second tier shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Like not quite like on that top tier.
Yeah.
Borderlands 3 feels like it's on that top tier. The gunplay feels real good.
That's good.
That's a big deal because I think for a lot of people, that was their thing with Borderlands. Like they love the loot, they love the way it looks, they love the story, but the gunplay, they're like, yeah, the guns aren't that great, but we just kind of deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they seem to have hit like a really nice combination of aim assist, the sound of the weapons, the way the weapons recoil.
Yep.
Like all that secret sauce, that special sauce that you do find in like a Bungie game or a Call of Duty. Like they've figured that out, and to me, Borderlands 3 really had it, and that got me real excited because that was like the missing piece.
That honestly has been the biggest criticism, aside from if you're just not a fan of the art style, which is a valid criticism, obviously. But like the gunplay from the past has definitely been, just like I said, a second tier or a second class shooter looter. And this, they just stepped it up. I mean, I was very surprised at how every, like, a white tier, green tier, blue tier, purple tier, all these weapons have tons of personality and feel very satisfying to shoot. Like it was surprising, and there is just an overwhelming amount of variety that's going to be in the end game, and that we already saw in just like an hour and a half of gameplay. Like it's impressive. I didn't think that they were going to be able to pull that off. I was expecting regular Borderlands and then new stuff in Borderlands. I wasn't expecting to be like, why do these guns feel so good? Well, this is such a tactile experience. Like you said, that sounds, there's so many different sounds for each of the weapons, and the way that they respond, and the way that the enemies respond, and that the way that the bullet dynamics respond to the environment all add to it feeling like next level, just straight up. It's like, oh, well, you can't really say that now about Borderlands with this game because the shooting mechanics are fantastic.
I mean, that's really good. They did that. In this day and age when, like, I mean, Destiny, amazing gunplay, everything from Respawn,
Apex,
really good gunplay. You know, I mean, even Overwatch as like just a ability hero focus thing, like everything feels really good in it.
Yeah.
Like, so having that mire of, oh, well, the guns and abilities don't really feel that great, but the loot's cool. You can grind for stuff. But like, hearing that makes me very, very happy.
It is.
It was more than just the guns. Well. The character movement I thought was much improved too. It felt more natural. It felt fluid. There's sliding. There's mantling. The jumps feel right. Like the weight of your character feels right. I only played as one character. I played as Zane, and he felt right.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just felt natural and good. We did play on PCs. I believe we were playing. Tefty, you might have insight on this. I believe we were playing at 1440p,
Correct.
60 FPS.
We were,
Okay.
and it seemed like the field of view was pretty low.
It was pretty narrow,
yeah,
right?
the field of view felt like console. Yeah. Also, we were forced to use controllers as well. We couldn't use mouse and keyboard because they had special developer commands on there to spit out loot and all that stuff. So we had to use a controller, and that's also something that I considered as well. I was like, well, I haven't really used a controller in a while, but when I remember using a controller with Destiny, there's a certain feeling that I get with shooting these guns, and I was getting that feeling shooting those guns with a controller.
Which I did not get in Borderlands 2. I played Borderlands 2 primarily on the PS4, and there was something about the aim assist that always just felt like off. Like it didn't feel like it helped enough.
The accuracy stat, it was like super finicky, basically, unless your gun had like a 96 or above accuracy stat, it just didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Stuff didn't land, didn't feel good. But yeah,
that's all changed. So it's amazing.
Like, we'll see what happens when the game comes on the PS4 and the Xbox. Like my guess is they're going to target 4K 30 FPS on the current gen consoles.
Probably, yeah.
So if that changes the feel of the game, I don't know. But
yeah,
you know, on the PC with 60 FPS, like it really felt good. It really felt viscerally exciting.
It did, yeah. And also, just like you're saying about the movement, sliding is very natural feeling. It kind of has like, actually, you know, it kind of feels more like COD in that sense, where like you could like jump slide, or run slide type of thing. It's like in between Destiny and COD or zombies when you run around sliding and all that. So it's very responsive feeling. Feels really good. I got to play both characters, and Zane is fun, absolutely. And some people might not know this, but like there's 3 action abilities for each character now. So in like Borderlands 2, it would be 1 action ability that would then go down certain trees for augmentation and or for ability adjustments and all that. Now there's 3 per character, which changes the playstyle dramatically. Zane specifically, you can have 2 of them. Forgo grenade. Mara is incredible. It's definitely my favorite character. I'm definitely going to be playing as Mara from the beginning. And all 3 of the action abilities are amazing. From like doing a Titan Slam, essentially, which feels fantastic, doing a Titan Slam, doing this astral projection type of thing, and then doing like the Maya grab out of the ground. And then the augments just change it so much. I haven't even had a chance to really go down the list and check all that stuff out, but like it's not going to be
There's
like
a ton of them.
Yeah. It's not going to be like that's it. You know, like you're going to evolve it dramatically over time and do builds.
Yeah, for each skill ability, there's like a ton of different augments. And then add to that, like the weapons are adding different abilities for you as well. It looks like there's going to be some cool builds out there.
Oh, insane, yeah. And that's just 2 characters from what we've seen so far.
Right.
Yeah. The biggest thing though, like, yes, we needed better gun mechanics. They nailed it. Apparently they had a whole team that was like dedicated towards making sure the gun feel was there for 2019. Awesome. So that's obviously great. The writing's back. Like I got a rocket launcher that shoots hamburgers. Ridiculous, right? I
love it.
I went to a barista bot that was like a hipster. It was like, no, man, you have to bring your own cup. You know, it's like, it's great. I love it.
I love how the main bad guys are like evil streamers.
Yeah, they're like big
streamers.
ego streamers. It's amazing. I love that.
Right?
It's so good.
So all that's fantastic, but they really nailed the loot. And I am blown away at the variety of the loot that's going to be in this game. Like, just, it's shocking. Because it's Borderlands style, art style, updated to 2019. So like wood and metal.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah. Wood and metal textures, they look like those textures, but it still looks like it's in Borderlands. And then the variety of what the components can be and all the different like multiple, you can switch between like the weapon types of whatever gun type it has. Like that stuff is just, it's like a dream come true. I think about it, I'm like, what could I think of that would be better for this? And I'm like, I don't know. They did it. They're like, let me give you a dream game. Boom.
Your ship being a hub looked really cool too.
Yep.
Because instead of just like a loading screen or a very basic kind of way to distract you that it's a loading screen, it was a whole ship with all of your stuff on it, which I really like. Instead of having a city that's a hub, having your ship as a hub feels really nice because you can put stuff on the walls that you can collect, which I love that. And I love that when you go to fly to a different planet, you can actually see the flying and you can see the planet in the background.
Yeah.
It's
really cool.
I personally really like that decision to do that.
I was surprised by that as well. I was like, oh, it's going to be like a fast travel screen or something, right? And they're like, we're flying to the planet?
And you can move on the ship while it's flying?
Yeah, then you take a pod down to the planet's surface? Okay, Gearbox, Jesus.
The ship reminded me of Mass Effect a little bit, where you could walk around,
Yeah.
you could do stuff
Yeah, I
on the
get that.
ship, you know, like have conversations, check out your loot, see what, you know, like if you, for instance, if a piece of loot falls off a cliff, there's like a kiosk where you go and pick up like lost loot.
It was a postmaster.
They got a postmaster.
Yeah, a postmaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I was surprised to see
But
that.
it's so Borderlands, but because it just unceremoniously vomits guns out of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
Oh, there's-
absolutely.
So I was playing, and at one
NPC.
point, one of the, I assume he's a dev, but one of the guys that like was managing the event just walks up. He says, "Hey, do you want more guns?" And just does a keyboard command on my PC, and just loot starts dropping from the sky, and it was amazing. Like it's just, oh yeah, this is satisfying. I can't wait.
Yeah. It's wild that they trusted us with that much control, with that many people suddenly playing the game, to just go in and be like, have fun with the sandbox that we built. It's like,
Yeah, live streaming,
Yeah.
making YouTube videos.
Okay, the thing I was surprised most about was the live streaming thing. Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
as content creators, that's something we've always wanted. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
for the people that stream to be able to go to these events and then not
And
be
it
like,
be
oh
worth
yeah,
it.
yeah, like that's awesome. Also, that to me that seems like they have extreme confidence in like what they've made to be able to just go, yeah, play this thing.
By no
Yeah.
means was it like a
Dream it.
finished game, right? Like
Yeah.
Right.
when I was playing through it, like it's supposed to be running at 60 frames per second on the PC. I was definitely seeing some frame drops.
same.
But we're
Yeah, I
still
saw that as
6
well,
months. We're still 6 months away from release.
Okay,
I saw like one bug that they had to like help me get past, but it was like, you know, we're still 6 months from release. But what I felt like I was playing was a very polished game, right?
Mhm.
It was like really getting close to being like, this is ready to go.
Well, that's the other thing that really impressed me is Gearbox has kind of changed I hope they've changed how companies deal with events like this in the future. Because like you said, there's never been really events for streamers. If you are a streamer, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for you to take time off from streaming to go and capture gameplay, because you're not going to make a YouTube video out of it. Maybe you do, but you don't really do YouTube. So that's not going to give you anything back. But to be able to just say, no matter who you are, it wasn't just the gigantic Borderlands
Mhm.
people, it was everyone who was given the ability to stream this game. And like Pat said, it shows a lot of confidence, because in a YouTube video, you know, you can kind of sound excited about it for a little bit. You can really curate how you talk about the game, but to just let people sit there and play the game for an hour and a half with their raw reactions to everything is really
The setup
something that
was
we've
so
not seen.
cool.
Yep.
They had rows and rows and
Yeah.
rows
It's
of
amazing.
kiosks with 2 screens, so you could see your chat, you could see everything.
That as well. They thought about that. Most
Yeah.
companies wouldn't have thought about that either.
Yep.
make
Like,
you pull out your phone to
Yeah,
to
they would make
review.
you pull. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not many people.
Like,
think of
what was the internet connection that place had?
Right? To have 200 plus live streams going at 6K, I was like, wow, this has got to be like trunks hooked
Yeah.
up to this place.
Log over there in Australia is just trying to get one. Like, I just want to be able to stream on one thing.
I was just about to say, I retract everything positive I said about Australian internet. I'm pretty sure we could pull that off.
It's the next level internet over there. It's crazy. It's a testament to what Randy said on stage. He was like, they had 5 or 6 years to make this game, and they didn't have like a time limit. There wasn't any like, we need to get this game done by X amount of date so we can ship it. They were like,
Yep.
What would happen if they made like their dream Borderlands game? And I walked away feeling like that, because all the people who were helping us do the live streaming, they were all the developers. They like, somebody worked in animation, somebody worked in level design, like all that. They were the ones helping us, or they were at the event excited about releasing this or showing this game off for the first time. And it really shows that they were like, time isn't a problem, even budget's not a problem. Like, creativity and making sure they nailed it was the problem, and I feel like they solved it from what I've seen so far. Makes me
This is the
extremely
kind of
excited.
game that a company can make when they're not being pressured to put something out.
Yeah,
Just
I
like,
think
we're
that's
just
the
going to
thing
work
that
on
you
a
take
game.
out of it.
Yeah.
That's the thing you can take out of it too. If it comes out and it is incredible, which like all signs point to it being, then does it sort of force? I mean, it's not going to change the industry. Like it won't, because it's a huge beast, but hopefully it gives pause to other devs that can go, well, look, we need time to make what we really, really want to make.
Yeah.
And in the end, people will be happy with it. And it, you know, like it negates all of the crap that comes along with sort of forced content cycles and all of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I understand that publishing companies are like, look, we've given you all this money. We need to start seeing some stuff coming back. But if you make an amazing game, people are going to play it because word of mouth is going to be like, dude, this game is absolutely amazing. And people are going to start playing it.
Yeah.
It's, you know, you make the good game, people will come. So I think that it's putting out a game that is everything you want it to be, or at least very close to what you want it to be, is much more important than getting things out on a fixed schedule.
Yeah, I agree. Because it's the brand, it's the IP, it's the stock that you build in the fan base, and the fan base will want to play and support a game if they check all the boxes correctly. You know, if they're not trying to rush out content and like disappoint. So it seems like they've done all that. We've waited, as a Borderlands fan, we've waited a long time, no doubt about it. But man, it seems like they've said it's the biggest Borderlands game by far that they've ever made. Tons of like mini bosses that pop up so you can farm them. They basically were like, you want to make sure that you can farm stuff in the game. Well, we're showing that those legendaries and stuff are dropping from these bosses, like people love in Borderlands 2, because they went away from that in Borderlands the pre-sequel, and people were like, why did you do that? So it's like them saying, we got this, you know, we've made the gunplay better, you got sliding and mantling because it's 2019, you should have that. It should be like a guaranteed type of thing. Like, so many good things about it. Very excited, guys.
And graphically, like I made a YouTube video today, and I was watching the YouTube video back because, as you do, to make sure nothing got fucked up. And I'm like, you know, compared to what I experienced in like real time, like there's a significant downgrade in visual quality when you upload to YouTube, right?
Yeah.
It's like I recorded this off a 1440p screen to 1080p onto a hard drive. Then I had to convert it with Handbrake to a compatible format so I could edit it and then, you know, render it again and then upload it to YouTube, and YouTube renders it again. And it's like, you know, over time, these things. But one of the things, and Tefty, I was actually watching your stream in the morning session, and one of the things that you said is like, it's amazing how you could tell metal is metal, leather is leather, wood is wood. Like, it really comes across, even though you have like these like kind of cartoony, cell shaded graphics, the materials come alive. There's something about that, like it still has that same graphical style of Borderlands 2, but it's just so much more high fidelity. In Borderlands 3, it was really impressive to see.
Yeah, that's easily one of the things I walked away after playing and seeing the game. I was like, they did it. They brought a Borderlands game into 2019. This is 2019 level graphics.
Yeah, that's really all they needed to do is make the shooting feel really good and make the graphics be up to what 2019 expects. Do the same thing with the movement, and then add more Borderlands.
Yeah,
because that's what people want.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I think the thing that like speaks to it the most is that you look at it and at a glance you go, yeah, that's Borderlands, and it doesn't look all that different to the old stuff. But once, I mean, especially in the sort of the first areas that they were shown of, you know, like on Pandora, it looks like Pandora, and it, you know, it's the same. The second they got to the futuristic city where it was all neon lit and everything like that, I was like, oh, okay, now I can see where the hardware's really just, you know, this is where they've been investing the horsepower that, you know, modern generation games can bring. So I mean, I think in that respect, the tone of it and the look of it, it's still undeniably what it is, and I think that's important too.
Another thing too is the AI. AI is definitely smarter. Maybe smart is the wrong term, but like it's more interesting to fight against. Because like if there's only one enemy left, they will not just stand at the open. They are actively seeking cover to try to like to try to break the sight line. So like the overall enemy interactions as well have been upgraded. And if your final bullet or the final bolt that kills the enemy is like in the leg, it blows that leg off. Like it gives them in certain ways. So you can, there's an interactive level ish type of feel that goes hand in hand with that upgraded gunplay or upgraded gun feel that's happening as well. So that's really impressive to see. Like all those things, those thoughts and considerations being put into the Borderlands universe.
They saw the gore is back too.
Gore is definitely back, and it's amazing.
I was surprised to see that, to be honest.
Yeah, I was surprised too, actually. Yeah, because Borderlands 1 was gory. Then when Borderlands 2 came out, I was like, oh, they took away the gore. Weird. All right. And then this one, they're like, you can blow the arms off. No problem. Do it.
You can blow the heads off when they're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the blood just like spurts out.
Yeah.
Like, super graphic. It's like in a hilariously graphic kind of way.
Like Borderlands 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the most relatable part of the stream for me. It was just whenever anything like that happened, oh, look at that. The guy's in half. Where's his torso? No one knows.
Yeah, it was great.
So, I mean, I only got to play it for an hour and a half. So, like, over the coming months, I know that questions are going to start coming. Like, what do you think the end game is going to be like? And, they're not doing the live game as service model, right? They're not doing a live service model. They're going to kind of stick with the, traditional model of here's the game and DLCs. Like, so that'll be interesting.
Let me pause you 1 second there, Briar, because we didn't mention the instance loot system is phenomenal. Yes. I mean, this is the standard. This is what needs to be in multiplayer games. So if I'm level 25 and Briar's level 10 and I join his game, I see level 25 enemies and I see level 25 loot, but I'm still in his game and it's balanced like that. So, I'm not going to jump in and just like overpower everything in one shot, everything by sneezing on it. Like it still makes it a fun experience. So like, let's say Briar, Watts or Holtz, like you guys are taking your time with it, but I've already gone through like the first story playthrough. I could still then join for a few hours, have some fun, and it'll be on my level. So we don't have the inconsistencies like that. That's how it should be. Just straight up. That's the standard, right?
Hard to balance though. Like other games have tried it and kind of messed it up. I know Anthem kind of got into a little trouble with that because it turned out that if you used like a level 1 weapon, it was more powerful than like a max level weapon. And it was because of a similar system that they were trying to implement. So, like we've got to play with that system but I mean, I agree with you. That's how it should be. It's like, it doesn't matter what level you're at. We should be able to play, regular content together. But what I'm hoping though, is that there is end game content that everybody's got to really, level up for and get to those, to be a badass for.
My prediction is that it's going to be more raid boss style stuff that they've done in the past and probably souped up beyond it. Like maybe there's multiple phases of stuff. Maybe they have like mini levels that you have to go through to get to that raid boss. That's a possibility. But like, I think they're going to continue with the theme of what they've done with farming and taking out big raid bosses once you've unlocked like max level type of stuff.
The one thing that I did notice was the kind of plug-in thing that you can use as someone who's watching a stream.
Oh, yeah, that was a cool system.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Created by some of the dudes from Dim and
Rick Casey, and then God, I can't remember
Goose Lowlands.
Name. Yeah, Goose and Lowlands.
Oh, dude.
They helped build this plugin that basically, if you are watching along someone who's playing Borderlands 3, you have a chance at getting like loot along
Borderlands 3 loot
along with them, and it's like
it's incredible. Honestly,
they had that up and running
so
for the event. So if you were watching a stream, theoretically, there's loot waiting for you already.
If you won, right? If you won in the
if
thing.
you won,
Yeah, because it doesn't give it to everybody who enters. You still have to like have RNG and it has to pick you. But then you get to pick what's in the red chest. Like you see the red chest, it pops up on the screen, it creates an event that happens in chat. People have to interact with it, which is very important because you don't want a bunch of AFK like
farmers in your chat.
Nearly view botting essentially because they want like loot from a chest. Like they have to actually interact. It will probably create loot chat pollution, but I mean it's still a really cool extension.
It's fun.
Yeah. So they do that. If they win, they get to pick, and then if they do all that and they win and pick it, then it'll be waiting for them in Borderlands 3 when they link their account, and play the game officially. That is so cool, man.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Honestly, they've really stepped up everything because it seems like they understand the current climate that we are in with streaming and how things are. Like they've done so much that shows that they really understand content creation in 2019.
Yeah, they really do.
And the extension also shows what people currently have equipped and things that's in their backpack, and it updates in real time. So you actually see them switch it as soon as they switch
that's
it.
so
It
cool.
is, it's unreal. It's amazing.
Oh,
So now
yeah,
I can
it's a
sit
really
here
cool
and watch Tefty playing Borderlands while I'm also playing Borderlands and getting loot from Tefty and in the game.
Right. And what's that gun
Have
Tefty's
all the
using?
streams
Just
up.
click
Click
on
on the
it and you
extension.
get like all the details.
yeah, and examine it.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
incredible.
gonna have everyone
you
stream
like-
up and I'm gonna press everybody's.
Right?
Or if you're like me, you need legitimate help to manage your own inventory at all times. Log, you've got this, man. Why aren't you using it?
You know, that's part of the Borderlands or the Borderlands experience though too, is that they don't really give you like little morsels to then like test out. Like they give you a rush of loot and then you get to decide how you want to go about filtering
Then
all this
you're
loot.
like, I don't know.
Yeah, it can be for better or worse, 100%.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're like, well, I just don't know, and I want to keep stuff, and it's cool, but I don't want to get rid of things. But that's part of the experience. It's like they get it. They're like,
Yeah.
you need constant amount of loot in those games, and they do it really well.
Yeah. And, you know, they're claiming millions of guns.
Billions.
Well,
1
guns
billion.
also have the
Billion.
alternate
1
fire
billion.
mode on.
1 billion guns.
Yeah, the calculation comes
Lot
from
of
all the
guns.
parts and all the manufacturers and all that. So it theoretically is a billion that's in the game, where as opposed to
Yeah, because
Yeah.
guns have their alternate fire mode. So when you get a gun, it has 2 ways that it can play, which is really
Yeah.
cool.
Not every gun has an alternate firing mode, I don't think.
yeah, not every. I believe it.
A good amount of them, but yeah, I don't think it was all of them.
One thing that they did really well also is allow you to inspect all the parts of the gun. So if you inspect a gun and then tab over to the far right, it'll show you each component and what stat it's giving it. So it'll be like plus 10% accuracy, plus
Oh, it's
20%
good.
reload, minus 20% reload, or stuff like that. And it'll show you everything on there. So you can really dial in and dig in, because that's always been in the game. That's always been in Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2, but they never really showed it. They weren't so open with it. It was always in the engine.
Yeah, when I was watching people play, it seemed like it was really easy to compare what you currently have to the loot that's on the ground and what you've picked up. It just seemed like that you didn't have to go into a menu and hold this button down. Like you could just look at it and it said, this has plus 6 for reload compared to what you currently have. So that was really nice because that makes it much more fluid to find
Yeah.
a weapon that just dropped that you want to use.
Yeah. Man, I gotta go back to field too, because like I got a bunch of different guns. One of them was a pistol that had a scope on it. It only had a 3-round magazine, which was disappointing. But like if I aimed down the scope, like I had basically like a low power sniper rifle. But if I hip fired it, it felt like the last word from Destiny. Like it was
Oh,
such
yeah, I
a
saw that.
cool goddamn gun.
What was the
Oh,
rarity?
Man, I can't wait till this game comes out.
What was the rarity of it?
What's that? It was white.
That's what I'm saying. Even the trash
You
weapons.
get fun loot from the beginning.
The trash
Yeah.
weapons are like, damn, this gun feels good. Oh, it's just a
Yeah.
regular white weapon. Wow. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
really
gonna be-
looking forward to it. The hype is real. Hour and a half of gameplay, like that's not enough to like uncover like the faults or like
Totally.
what you might not like about the game, and like it's certainly not enough to like, oh well, the end game grind is like really slow and boring because like the drops are too far between. Like who knows what that's going to be, but
Yeah.
like right off the bat, like in an hour and a half of gameplay, I'm really enthusiastic about the future of this game. I can't wait to see more.
Didn't they say that the story is 30 hours and that's without doing any side missions at all? That's just
Beelining
straight
it.
beeline
Mhm.
beginning to end.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's pretty good.
Pretty meaty.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty
So
good.
even if you don't play endgame at all and you just play the story, do all the side quests, that is a good sizable amount of content that
Yeah.
you have.
Yeah, that's a lot of content just right off the bat on the table. And they said that
Yep.
the end game specifically is the biggest they've ever made for a Borderlands game.
It's
That's
exciting.
good news.
So secrets, lots of optional stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Borderlands 2 launched with one raid boss, Terramorphous. I mean, you could farm the warrior as well, but like as a strictly raid boss, that was end game. Like here you go, you maxed out, go kill this guy. It was one of them. So I wonder, like, by the end of the Borderlands 2 life, there was a ton of them that you can go in and do. So I wonder how many right off the bat that they're going to have, and if they are going to change the formula, so it's more like a quest every time. Like, I'm curious if they're going to take something from Destiny and say, we like the strike system. Maybe we could have something in the Borderlands universe that its own thing that's kind of like that, re-triggering a quest line.
Yeah. I hate to bring up Destiny on the B3CP, but now that we know that, Bungie controls Destiny, right? And like, seeing a game that, they've worked on for 5 or 6 years, like, would you guys like to see Bungie like just delay Destiny 3 until they're ready to put out like a fully finished product instead of like kind of keeping to that timetable? Like, if they keep to the timetable of when Destiny 2 came out, we would expect Destiny 3 to come out September 2020, right?
Yeah.
So would you rather see them just kind of hold on to it and keep working on it until like they really feel like they're done with it, or would you rather see them stick to the September 2020 launch
absolutely
date?
If they're able to, like,
if they're able to, absolutely.
The studio isn't just gonna like shut down because they don't
for sure
have any income.
Having a company be able to have complete creative control over their game and then have as much time as they need to put in something, because there's kind of a lot of things that go into whether you can create content for a game. Mm-hmm. One of those things is, of course, money. Do you have the money to do it? But another huge one is time. There's been a lot of things that developers have wanted to put into their game, but they didn't have the time. They had the money to do it, but they didn't have the time to get that stuff in the game. So having that extra time to be able to make something like an activity be truly what they want it to be is a huge deal. And I there's a lot of insanely creative and talented people at Bungie, and them having all the time that they want to make an activity what they want is very exciting. And I hope that they're able to do that.
Do you think the seasonal pass structure of Destiny 2 could sustain it? Let's say they wanted to delay it for 2 years and they wanted to put out Destiny 3 in 2022. Do you think the seasonal pass structure that they're working with now could sustain Destiny 2 for that long? Or do you just allow your players to move on, play other stuff, and then just, hit big with Destiny 3? Does it even matter if people are still playing Destiny 2 when Destiny 3 comes out?
How do you feel about that, Log?
Good question.
I mean, part of me wants to say that if it takes for Destiny to really die down, for Destiny 3 to come out and hit every strap and hit every note right, I'd love that. But at the same time, I think the thing that Destiny does struggle with is that the community is always there and it always wants to be here. And it would be a painful thing, I think, if it were to die off. I mean, like, you look at, it's more the supplementary stuff that I think it would hurt. Do I think that if there was nothing new for 6 months or whatever, we're in the situation we are now where there's sort of small things being added, but it's not life-changing, I think most people would understand and would be okay with it in going forward and saying, well, it's for Destiny 3, if they're transparent about it. But what am I going to talk about on a podcast for 2 years?
Well,
I don't know.
You're watching like clans disband, though, right? It's like not disband, but people just like, well, I don't want to play Destiny anymore, so it's not. I'm not leaving my clan, but I'm going to go play, Borderlands, or I'm going to go play Division for years, not months, years. Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's cheesy to say it, but like the friend game is a huge part of Destiny.
It is.
And without, like most of my mates right now, my really good mates are all people I play Destiny with. And it's, it changes the course of people's lives. I think we can all say that. So from that front, no, I wouldn't like to see it completely die down. But would I like to see what Destiny would be if they were given the opportunity that Borderlands has been given right now? Fuck yeah, right? Like, I want to see Destiny peak Destiny. Just call it Destiny.
I think just Destiny,
The
like
end of
ultimate,
Destiny.
right? Just the ultimate, where this is our ultimate
Destiny
and we're just
Infinity.
updating this.
Ultimate
Yours.
eternal
So it's
infinity.
just
Destiny Endgame.
Destiny's
Destiny
Child.
Eternal.
Destiny Eternal.
Strongholds, but I think there might be copyright issues.
I think that I know a lot of people haven't been enjoying the pass experience, but I think that if Bungie learned about what people liked from the annual pass and just made that better, I think an annual pass could work in Destiny, but they have to do it in a way that people really enjoy it, like adding to the game. So for example, you have forges, right? You could add more forges, you could add more armor, you could add more weapons, so that grind kind of stays there, and you don't need to do a full new activity, right? You're just adding to another activity, which then enables you to make a new activity plus make this old activity have new stuff. So I would love for them to do that, to just add to what they've created and make it better, and then add
real-
Yeah,
new
that's
stuff.
that's exactly what I want from a season pass, and what they're not doing, or what they've sprinkled in elements of like, oh, this is cool, and then they're like, now let's go do this completely other thing. That I'm like, why? I want the other things to change in the game. Like they got to be able to add loot effectively, and some strikes and some PvP maps, and keep that going every season.
Yeah.
New loot, maybe some strikes, PvP maps. If they can do a raid, great. But even with raids, I don't think that's necessarily like, people come in for raids, they get really hyped, and then they go away.
Yeah.
And like the content that we need is things that are farmable, that you want to come
Like
back
the
and
Forge.
chase. Yeah, the Forge is absolutely the best example of that. So let's have the Forge and a bunch of other things in the sandbox and the playable spaces to have adjustments and changes. Like they need to rotate things. Like if you go in, strikes as an example, but any activity in the game, have rotatable loot depending on the season, so that people can go and farm for things like that to keep activity going, as opposed to, I got that exotic, I'm done, or I got my spare rations, I'm never playing this again. Like,
So I disagree with you guys a little bit, because that's not what gets me going for Destiny. What gets me going is having the grind for loot is definitely a motivation, but it's only a motivation if I have a place to use that loot. And I have a feeling like I need to get this loot because I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. And what I feel like Destiny, the seasonal pass, is providing me are these like weekly, like 4-hour stints of like, here's something to do for 4 hours, or maybe 8 hours, depending on how much I want to grind it. But what I don't have from Destiny right now with the seasonal pass system is like a deep dive for like, just like tens or 20 hours of just like get totally immersed into this, and like, it's just not there for me. It's not doing the kind of thing that a DLC used to, where it's like the world has changed in a significant manner. There's new story. There's like a ton of different loot coming from vendors, coming from a new location to explore. There's a raid that I got to get ready for. Like, it just isn't. The seasonal pass is not pleasing me on the same level that DLCs used to please me.
Well, that's kind of why I was saying that I hope that they could use old content, because then I think that would allow them to add more new content, because they're like, okay, let's add new armor set and some new guns into the Forge, but then let's also add a new strike and a new raid and a new planet or whatever, because you don't have to create a brand new activity because you already have that Forge activity. You're just adding loot to that activity. So I think that if they did something like that, where they were using their old content and adding more stuff to it, and then also making the world feel different, whether that's with another world or a brand new storyline or whatever that is, then that might make us feel like we have overall more stuff to do, because we can still go back to our old activities and get new stuff. But there's also this new activity, there's a new dungeon that you can use that new stuff in. There's a new crucible activity or whatever it is. I just feel like that would be a better way to do content, because you're not having to create everything from scratch. Maybe you're creating one thing from scratch, but then adding new vendor weapons, for example, new vendor armor, new Forge armor weapons, new Blindwell armor weapons.
yeah. See, for me, I'm with the new stuff. Like, I want new weapons. I want new things to chase after. I feel you, Briar, on like needing a reason to have that stuff to then go use them. But from what I'm gathering from Bungie is that it's not possible for them to make that chase. Like, if they're not going to be able to do an amazing raid, if that ultimately is what it is, level up and then do this crazy raid every season or every 6 months, then what's the give and take then? And for me, it's like, well, if there's a lot of new cool weapons I can go and chase for that I just don't know I'm suddenly going to get while I'm doing random things out in the world, then that makes me go, oh, I wonder what else is there. But if it's like this season where it's like, hey, hit 700, why? Because you can. And I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to use those materials to infuse your things up to 700, then be out of your materials? Okay.
No. But I did it.
It's just an arbitrary goal.
Yeah.
It's so without a raid that it is literally going to make easier by leveling up.
So,
it is so arbitrary. But
yeah,
I do
have all the same stuff you've already seen for the past 6 months, but now it's 700. Oh, okay.
I'm with Watts in that the content redundancy is like, there is so much shit to do in Destiny, and most of it right now at the end of Season of the Drifter, you're not doing it. You know, like I haven't done a forge in a month at least.
Yep.
Well, I think I farmed blast furnaces last time I did it. You know, it's sitting there. It's content that they spent a lot of time and effort on developing, and like the whole Niobe Labs event and all of that sort of stuff that went into it.
Yeah.
But it's sitting there gathering dust. And I think that I'm hoping that at least with this, you know, this is a new thing for Bungie as well. They're learning and finding their feet, but there's enough shit in Destiny to be able to keep yourself busy for a week. The reason to do the shit that is kind of missing. And I think like the story, from a story perspective, I think they're doing really well. I think these long form stories like the, you know, what's happened with the Agent of the Nine stuff and all of that, you know, the Invitations of the Nine, sorry, that I like that as a mode of storytelling for this particular thing.
Do you like that because you got Myelin though, like giving you the straight dope week to week? Because
that's a good
I gotta be honest with you, I'm not into it that much. But if I watch a Myelin or a Bife video, I get way more into it.
The lore and storytelling has been, I think, really good with that.
I've been enjoying it, and I don't watch their videos.
Okay. It's all right. I don't either, man. I'll talk to him on a podcast for an hour and a half a week. That'll do me just fine. I think, look, there's a couple of ways to look at it, because it does enable those guys to make content that isn't just in your face, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of like a doubling down on the lore system that accompanies the loot, because for most people, they don't sit and take everything aside and then put it all into a story that runs for 10 minutes and explains it all to you. So it's important from a content creator's perspective that they have these long form stories that they can pick up, because when Destiny 2 first launched, they just weren't there. I like the idea of it probably more than the actual doing of the thing, like, because I'm a week behind on the Invitations of the Nine thing, which I think I've caught up now because of the glitch that happened last week. But I don't know that unlocking it. I kind of like that it's positioning characters in a way that runs the length of the season. But I do think that at least you should be able to catch up if you come in late. Like, I think that's the one failing of that current iteration of it. But yeah, I mean, it probably is an advantage having that, actually, because we do talk about it a little bit.
They give you the deep dive.
So yeah, and there's that, but also, like, there is so much shit going on in the background that, you know, like we had a pretty solid conversation about Varix last week and where he thinks that's headed and stuff like that. And for the most part, that's just, you know, it's not tabletop stuff. You're not thinking about it all the time when you're playing Destiny or anything like that. So do I think these things are good little stilts to come in and maybe, like, I think the thing that, I'm a bit sporadic here, but the thing that Destiny is missing right now is that kind of real story-driven moments, right? Like, we don't get them. They're few and far between, and there's no real single-player missions or like that traditional story missions.
You know, it's interesting thinking about it, like how the lore stories have replaced any kind of campaign-driven content that could have dropped from this, which is obviously, it's a lot easier to do the lore pieces every week to drop like that. But I am finding myself going, I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of story content. Obviously, it's way more expensive to do that, though. So,
I think if they can use these sort of like the Invitations of the Nine and the stuff with Mara and all of that to position a big story that comes, like when it all sort of comes together. Because when you think about the amount of characters in Destiny that are slowly being introduced and their true purpose revealed, like the Drifter and basically what Gambit really is and all of that sort of stuff, they're putting characters in places to then tell a story, hopefully down the line. You know, like where does Rasputin come back into it? That's what I'm hoping for, is that's kind of where they're at in terms of they use these seasons in between where there's not a lot going on to really position their characters, introduce things, focus on small parts of the story. But I do think that, you know, for the player that needs that out of Destiny, that wants to get on, play the story and then get off, I do just think there's nothing at the moment because you can't even grind for that stuff. But yeah, that was a hell of a segue.
I do have a question for you, Log, and this is completely changing the subject, but I feel like it's important. What are your top 10 favorite swear words?
I think they're all fuck, really. it's just you can
bring combinations.
It's the most versatile word in the English language.
So number 10
is fuck.
Number 9,
fuck.
8,
fuck.
7,
fuck.
6,
fuck.
5.
All different connotations, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's endless.
Yeah.
Fuck.
You're getting really drunk.
That's one.
Number 4.
Fuck. Did I do that one already?
Mm.
Number 3. Oh, I don't know. I'm getting into the top 3 now. I need to seriously think about this. Fuck. Like you're exasperated fuck. But you weren't expecting that to happen.
Man. Yeah, one of those.
Stubbed your toe.
Yeah, I mean, like
that's like frustration and pain, I think.
Number 2 would definitely be the after a really long week at work. Fuck. That one. Yeah. Like I'm finally getting to just switch off. And then number 1 is just fuck. You can do anything with it.
Got it.
That's a beautiful word, man.
Beautiful.
The reason I asked that, there's someone in chat apparently playing a drinking game every time you're cursing, and you were quiet for a long time, so I'm just helping them get caught up.
Perfect.
Yeah, they're dead. They're dead now. That was actually the first thing that I had messaged to me when the announcement came out earlier in the week was a few of the clan guys saying we're going to play a drinking game along to you, and like it was more about me trying not to say one particular word than it was about swearing. But there's a heap of other stuff that they decided to add to it.
Do they have to finish their drinks? Is there a special rule if you say that one word?
Are they shots?
Yeah.
Are they shots? Or are they doing beer?
I think there's like decent swigs associated with some of it, but if I drop the C-bomb. If I drop the C-bomb, that is definitely finishing a drink. So
well, I think that's going to happen when we teach Briar subs language.
You can't say that.
Some Australian manners. Teaching
we can have Australian pirate Briar. Yeah. That's what I want to see.
I think that's a great, like, in an alternate universe, like as a comic alt, I would buy that. I'd love to see that cover art. Right.
Someone please draw Australian pirate Briar. Drunk.
What would make him Australian compared to the normal Briar?
A tan. I don't know. I can't say that. I'm pasty as shit.
Probably wearing, as you would call them, thongs.
Yeah, thongs. Yeah.
Flip-flops here and everywhere else.
Not before you guys start panicking. Not the other type of thong.
Flip-flops.
Yeah, cancel that artwork of Briar in a thong, please. We don't need that. I don't know. It's one of those things where I think over time Australia has become a little bit. We're just like a very, very Southern America at this point. You know, we have our different mannerisms and things like that, but for the most part, I think the way the world is now with media and all that sort of stuff being universally accessible all the time, I think we sort of gradually will become in one big soup of humans.
Super.
So
that's
the things
man, that's deep. Everyone's losing their individual cultures. What makes them special? Everyone's just the internet.
Everyone's becoming one.
I think that
But if everyone
Yeah,
becomes gumbo, then
You can eat everyone and not just Briar.
yeah, it's true.
First
when you
choice of
guys
Briar.
start dropping the C word, just there's a saying in Australia that you call strangers mate and you call your mates, the C word. So that's the level that it's used here.
Yeah, it's endearing.
not like, and it's, I mean, some of the language that goes live before we go live on the podcast is abhorrent. And we try and get it out of our system because, I mean, we have a siren that we set off whenever we say it, which was a mistake because now we try and say it to set off the siren. It was like a Pavlovian thing that we tried to do of the like, don't you do that? But now it's just, we do it all the time. It's more Matt than anything. I think he's really mindful of it. Sloth, not so much. He's kind of the major exponent of the C-bomb. So yeah, that's
Nice.
that's where we're at.
Briar, did you get a beer?
Yes.
Briar, how do you feel about being an Australian pirate who swears a lot
Then's wearing
and wears
thongs.
I like the sound of that.
and wears thongs?
Thongs?
Where's thongs? Not a thongs.
Oh, okay.
Flip-flops.
Like
Flip-flops.
flip-flops? Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
But
you
also
can do
thongs.
both.
Yeah. That's
You
what-
can do
Summertime,
both.
that's just standard operating procedure.
Imagine,
Yeah, I mean, you can-
imagine pirate Australian Briar pulling up on a ship with his butt just in the wind. How
Flapping
intimidated
away.
would you be? Can we get Ash to draw this? She might not want to.
Nothing like feeling the breeze between your cheeks.
And your toes at the same time.
Yeah.
Hey, Briar,
Is it time that
Briar's
we're ready
thinks
for Twitter questions?
I
This
think
is,
so.
this is- yeah.
Yes. I mean,
Well,
at
it's
least
not
they
going to
can't
get better
go
from
downhill.
here.
It's gonna
I
get.
had
yeah,
a quick look. It's gonna get weird.
it's the best kind.
Nem, the asker of questions. Nem coming on the podcast soon. Nem,
Yeah.
the asker
Yeah.
of questions says,
Can he
how
just interview
often
us?
does-
Because
I
he
think
asked
that's
so
a good
many
idea.
questions. I think
Actually,
he
me
should
and
just
Tefty are going to be on the Planet Destiny
That's
podcast
right. Yeah.
with Nem.
Yeah.
Check out the old digs.
Yeah,
See
that's
what's
right.
going on over there.
Checking on
what
up.
you did with the place.
Nem says, how often does Log eat Vegemite?
As an adult, I avoid it.
Why?
It's not real good. It's
What
I think
is it?
Billy
I don't
Connolly-
actually know what it is.
Vegemite is a yeast extract.
Make it sound.
That is really
so
what it is,
appealing.
and so is Bonox, which I saw a question about as well. Bonox is like drink Vegemite, right?
Drink Vegemite?
and and it's this really, I don't know if you've ever tried it. It's really tart tasting. Billy Connolly probably described it the best I've ever heard in that he said it's like licking a cat's ass.
Huh.
That's basically.
That would require me doing that beforehand too to know.
Yeah, any foods?
Yeah, I know.
is there any
I mean, it's
food
not much of a litmus
that you
test.
can have it like equivalent to in taste bud? Yeah,
Oh,
like vinegar.
not really.
Is vinegar
I don't
kind of
think so.
Vegemite?
I think Vegemite is a unique.
it's really. I mean, we do feed it to kids, and I think that's probably what makes them tough here.
Yikes!
I mean, I grew up on it.
Eat
It's
your-
one of those
eat
things as
your
an adult.
Vegemite.
I'm a bit. Eat your Vegemite, mate.
Is it healthy?
Yeah, I assume so. I mean,
Is it?
I mean, beer is basically a yeast extract too, right? And beer's healthy, right, Briar?
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
definitely.
See, that's an ingredient though to
Maybe
brew
it's-
something. Whereas like this is
True.
this is a
Tefty,
spread.
Tefty.
This is concentrated yeast extract, right?
Yeah, well, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
It's. I probably should have done a little bit more research on Vegemite before.
Nah.
I mean,
this
it
is how this
really
podcast is,
high
man. This is how we
in
roll.
vitamin. Yeah.
How do
No,
you feel
I
about
wonder if we
Vegemite
could
versus
order some
Vegemite?
and have it as a donation goal for this year's Guardian contest.
Not it.
Not it.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
You didn't touch your
I
nose.
will 100% post you some.
Hey,
Oh,
great. Pope,
Guys,
Pope
guess
has to do
what?
it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Pope-
Pope's not here,
Pope's
so
not
here,
Pope,
Pope has to do
there
it.
you go.
I'll
Pope
post
would
him
win.
some. That's. I am down for that because we're kind of renowned for either that or Tim Tams, and Tim Tams are like a biscuit that everyone loves.
And
And
Tim Tams
Vegemite
are
is one of
like,
these-
you can get those anywhere too. Like
Really?
you
thought
can
they
get
were
them here in the
special.
US.
Oh man.
I've heard Tim
What about
Tams.
your lemonade's different to our lemonade? Is your lemonade
Is there
not
any
fizzy,
other
is it?
Australian food that's like really delicious that's not available in like the rest of the world or not widely known about?
Yeah. Tell me about these bloomin' onions
what the-
that I hear all about.
You tell me about these blooming onions. I don't know what they are.
I asked you.
Boy, it just sounds good coming out of your mouth, to be honest with you.
Check, please.
Blooming onions. That and literally, you would struggle to find Foster's beer here.
Of course.
That's the other thing too.
Thank God.
It is just extinct here. Like no one drinks it, which is
I
probably
think the only benefit Foster's has is that it just comes with that big ass can.
Yeah, true.
You know,
I
it's
can
the same
get
appeal
anything
as
in
like
a-
a 40. It's not the flavor of the beer in the 40 that's the appeal. It's just the
Yeah.
fact that there's 40 ounces of it.
It's the quantity.
I can get a big beer
Just
anywhere.
compete on quantity.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can just get 2 other beers and pour them into the one cup, right, or something. It's probably better than a Foster's.
Two beers,
A
one
good
cup.
workaround. Is there any other food? Not really. I mean, we're kind of renowned for weird things like sausage rolls, which is
Kangaroo.
like meat inside of
Kangaroo.
Boxing kangaroos.
kangaroo meat. I think we're the only country in the world that eats their national emblem. Like, and you can just go into any shop and find kangaroo. They're fucking
it
everywhere,
good?
man. Like,
I mean, usually the national animal is like something that's almost extinct or something. Like it's a protected species now in Australia.
not for us. They're horrible. They're everywhere.
It's like
I mean,
deer.
I know that's a
Like-
terrible thing to say about kangaroos.
No, I mean, it's,
Like deer.
it's like
Probably more
overpopulation.
like deer than
Yeah.
anything. Yeah, they are everywhere.
Hmm.
Down
Is
where
it good meat?
Nick's
Like,
from.
is it delicious?
It's
Would
pretty.
you rather have a steak or a kangaroo steak?
I'd rather have a steak. 100%.
I've heard kangaroos like really tough.
It is, and it's like it's higher in protein. I think. I don't know how that's possible, but it is. It's
Seems like it would be really dense. Like
it's really lean.
yeah.
And but I mean, it's one of those things that like all the health nuts here eat kangaroo, and everyone else just eats steaks. Yeah, it's one of those.
One of my
things.
favorite videos that I've ever seen on the internet, and I should find this again and post it on social media so other people could see it. But it's basically a guy dressed up as like a mascot of some sort and like a big, I think it was orange, but it's been a while, like a big orange head, like a mascot costume, like a big fluffy mascot costume. And he's hanging out and they're on a newscast and there's a kangaroo standing right next to him. And all of a sudden, the kangaroo, you've seen this? Have you seen it, Locke?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. So then all of a sudden,
All right.
the kangaroo just like kind of glances over, looks back at the camera, then glances over again, puts him in a headlock, and just starts beating the shit out of him. And like being an American and never having seen a kangaroo in person, it was the first time that I realized kangaroos are jacked. Like they're huge.
Yeah,
they
they
have
are.
They're like
huge
jacked
muscles.
The way
Yeah,
they move
it-
just looks like a person. It's
The
scary.
like biceps are gigantic, and like the brutality of these punches to this mascot's head was hilarious, but also kind of scary.
Yeah. I hope you had Kevlar on or something underneath the kangaroo suit. But they do that. They hold things and basically kick. They are everywhere here. Like I see them out the front, and I know that sounds like one of those made up
Out
things
your
that
window?
people could you have your kangaroo? Like they literally come into my street and eat the fucking plants.
Huh.
They're like
It's
deer.
an inconvenience.
Yeah, they're like deer.
Yeah, they're
sounds like
basically our deer.
They're like deer
They
that
are
can
deer,
box
except
you.
Yeah.
Dares to
Yeah.
kick your
Yeah, I
ass.
can
And
gorge
they're
you.
just generally unpleasant in that, like, have you seen the video where there was just 2 of them kicking the crap out of each other in a suburban street?
No, huh?
Yeah, like that.
Can you link me this
Yeah,
video?
Chat's telling me
It's
that wasn't a
serious.
newscast; it was a children's show,
That's even funny.
which kind of makes it better.
That's way better.
Yeah, we've had, Australia has a long checkered history with kids shows too, so that's that.
Yeah,
I believe that. I don't question.
we have
that
the
at
same
all.
thing with the Catholic Church.
Yeah, that might be universal, my friend.
Yeah.
That's going on here too.
Next question. Synapse says, "This again is for Log. What's your favorite type of electric guitar?"
I've got a ESP Viper that I've played for forever. That's my.
Is it like right next
main
to you?
guitar.
Can you pick it up and show?
This puppy.
Nice.
Oh, it looks like that.
That's
but-
not a knife. That's an axe.
Guitar.
It's an axe. But yeah, that's I've had that for forever, and it's my main guitar. So if I had to say what my favorite guitar is, it's that, because it's the one that I own. I've got another BC Rich that's pointy that I've let fall into a sad state of disrepair, and I feel bad about that now that I think about it. But I don't know. I want to get a V. I want to get a flying V, just because I think that they're the most ergonomical in terms of sitting down, because I'm an old man now and that's all I do.
Really? The one with the sharpest points on it is the most ergonomical.
Yeah, who'd have thought?
I kind of want to hear Teffy answer this too.
My favorite. Wait, electric guitar?
Does it say electric? Yeah, it says electric, but answer however you want.
I mean, my favorite guitar is my Taylor 714 CE acoustic. I got it though, like in high school. My mom bought it for me. There's a story behind all that, so that's why it's my favorite. But I also have an '87 American-made Fender Strat that plays pretty nice, pretty damn nice.
I got a Mexican one of those.
I have a favorite one too. It's like a 92, I want to say, Fender Telecaster. Story behind that is I told my dad, who had played in bands and stuff, like when I was like 4 or 5, I was like, Dad, I want to be in a band and I want you to be in it. And those are like the magic words for him. So like, I'm going to buy my son the most kick-ass guitar. He's not even going to fucking know what hit him. And he bought me an adult size Fender Telecaster, like brand new American made. It's fucking amazing. Problem, 4-year-old can't fucking hold that up or do anything with it. So like it sat there for many years, not doing anything. I just left it back in Nashville because I never learned how to play it.
As a father, I can say those are the magic words.
They are.
Like, oh, you want to do something with me? Let's go spend some money.
I've got an 8-year-old that's got 2 guitars and a 2-year-old that has a drum kit.
Nice.
That's amazing.
And neither of them are, I mean, my youngest is kind of into it because if she hits it, it makes a really loud noise, and that's cool. But actually, funny story about that. I sent Ash a message after I got the picture of the DCP art, and I showed my daughter, and she's like, oh, that's incredible. I'm going to start drawing people. And I'm like, I've been trying to get her to pick up a fucking instrument for 8 years, show her one picture. Now she's into art. So there you go. That's the plight of a father. You do it, Dad. If you do it, Dad, it's not very cool. But if someone else does some kind of art, I'm in. There we go.
Agreed. This is true. We got a bunch of swag from the Borderlands 3 event.
Looks so good, by the way.
It was pretty good, and I brought it home, and my kids were like, "Yeah, whatever." As a father, I bring that stuff up. I'm not gonna hang this stuff up on walls or anything like that. So, they ask you, what's your jacket size, and if anybody's met me, they know that men's large is not the correct size. So you bring home all this cool stuff, and they're just like, "Yeah, whatever."
Do they have a bigger than large?
Yeah, but I'm not going to wear a Borderlands 3 jacket, so I bring that home.
The jacket was really cool.
Was really cool. I got to say, it was really small. Like the large was like a small medium here in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. I was surprised.
Even in Japan, when I got anything large, it was like, yeah, no, this fits me just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a Japanese large is what I'm saying. I was surprised.
Didn't fit?
No, it fit me, but just barely. I was gonna get a medium. They're like, it's kind of small. I was like, all right, I'll go for a large. We'll see if it's a little bit bigger, and it ended up fitting perfect.
I hope that's one of the things that comes with fucking becoming one giant human soup is universal sizing.
That's a good idea. We need that. Yeah.
Why is that not a thing yet? For God's sake, come on.
Valer Hal says. This one's for Holtzman, actually. Question for Holtzman. I've heard you do a mean Varix impression. Will you do it on the show today?
Oh, I read that one and I was like, I'm going to need to make sure I need to warm it up.
Can you do it on
Varix? Been a while since Varix made appearance on podcast. Yes. Well done.
You could do a classic line.
Psylocke the Defiled.
Yeah.
Thirst for your light.
Now, can you do the Varix
Can you
from
make
Down
it
Under? Can we have Varix drop the C word? Down under, right?
Welcome to the prison of elders. You fucking
Stay in character, Alt. Stay in character. Come
You
on.
should have just gone with it, Pat. Come on.
That's Log's word.
Just
I can't
hit
say
it.
that.
That's not my word. I claim no ownership. It's its own free spirit. I'm not touching it.
Is nobody gonna drop?
Oh,
You're not gonna drop it? Come on. All right.
I can't.
I got that
Anyway, yeah. Sneaky.
David Clark says, "What are everyone's current feelings on the future of Destiny? Are you excited, nervous, optimistic?"
I am excited for what they're going to do without the restraints of Activision. I think if you want to play Destiny aggressively and make it your only game for the next 2 or 3 years, then I'd be nervous.
I would parrot that statement pretty hard. I'm very excited about Destiny 3. I don't know if nervous is the right word for Destiny 2, but it's of the 3 options, the closest.
I am optimistic because, first of all, Season of Opulence is literally the season of secrets. And that is what Bungie does so very well. I really hope that when they come to announce it, they're just like, Season of Opulence. And then they just say, it's a secret.
This is Vicarious Visions
that's our
doing
trailer.
this too, right?
Yes.
It's like,
Is it?
it's, yeah,
Their
it's their
last-
last,
the
I
last
think it's
DLC.
the last thing they're
The
working
last
on.
hurrah.
And
They've been
did
pretty good with secrets too, actually.
Yeah, last summer's DLC was fun. I thought it was really good with like endgame stuff.
So I would say I'm really looking forward to Season of Opulence. I think it's probably going to be the best one out of the few because it kind of, at least from what we've been told about it, it seems like it hits what Destiny does really well. Also, I don't know if you guys heard, but they hired someone at Bungie who was in BSK, who
I heard of
was
that,
the
Yeah.
best Destiny 2 player, has
Change.
played, who has played for a very long time to be a tester on the Sandbox team.
Who-
So
who was
that's Log.
BSK change.
Yeah. So that is a really big signal to me that they're wanting to take the Sandbox and maybe Crucible stuff to a different place or a little bit more seriously. And I'm also excited for just Bungie having control of Destiny because there's definitely negatives that come with it. I'm sure finances are a little bit more difficult when you're just by yourself. But the things that I've heard from people who work at Bungie about from forever ago about what they want Destiny to be and what they would really like to create is always amazing. So having them be able to just make it without a higher up being like, nah, or you got to put that out next week. Sorry, bud. I'm excited to see what that could be.
Yeah.
Put it in Eververse.
Yeah.
I think that's where most people are at. Like, are genuinely excited to see what Bungie does without the reins on.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, apprehensions about what happens between now and then. So, yeah,
That's a good summary.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Fashizzle says, worried about all the devs leaving Bungie? Question mark.
Nope.
So actually, we were talking about this in stream a bit today, and a lot of people were saying, first of all, I want to say I respect all the developers and I love them a lot. They're really awesome people. But just because people are awesome and they're great and they're your friends doesn't mean that sometimes you don't disagree with their decisions of what they want a game to be. And I think that when you've had people working on a game for 10 years or it's a really long time, even 5 years, it's very hard to step out of that and take a look at what the game needs. You know, that's why they bring people in to play content who have never played it before and haven't created it, because you get that fresh view of what's missing here. What are we doing wrong? What are we doing right? And I think that bringing in some fresh people with fresh perspectives that can really figure out what they want Destiny to be and follow what the community wants is a good thing. I don't see how that could be a bad thing. You know, a lot of the developers who have left are developers who really liked Bloom. They wanted a smaller skill gap in PvP. So that's, you know, just some of the things that people have wanted to change from Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like getting new people in who are maybe on the same thought pattern of what the community is can only be a good thing.
I would have said the same thing much less eloquently, so I'm just going to shut up and agree with Watts.
Yeah.
Like one of the other things that like Jason Schreier pointed out is like, hey, it's basically bonus time. Like that just passed. So like if they were like wanting to maybe leave to do something else, or they got offers from another studio or something, like now's the time that you would take it.
Yeah.
At the same time, like you have to realize that like creative minds need to
create.
you need to be able to create, but at the same time, like a creative mind kind of abhors tedium. Like if you are making kind of the same things over and over again, it just feels stifling after a while. So now you're going to need to change like the tools that you are using, or you're going to need to change, you know, the environment that you're in, the medium that you're working on, whatever it is. Yeah. If you created anything, you eventually hit that point where you're like, oh fuck, I need to do something else. And you know, you can still completely enjoy what you were working on. So, you know, like I totally see how it can seem doom and gloom, but if you look at it beyond that unbelievably surface level thinking, yeah, people are going to leave.
Yeah.
It just makes like people are going to do it.
You also don't.
And actually, just to say really quick, the amount of time that these particular devs have been at the company is longer than devs usually spend at a game company. So that should tell you something about how the environment is working at Bungie. It's a good place to work. They treat their employees really well. They did a whole talk on eliminating crunch and how that's been really important. So
yeah.
At GDC, did they do that this year at GDC?
Yeah.
Nice.
Is that available online? I'd love to watch it.
Sometimes GDC is really weird with how they release talks. Sometimes they are, sometimes they just never are.
Also want to say that like it creates room and opportunity for some new stars to rise up in the company that we've never heard of, to make some amazing decisions that we go, man, I can't believe how amazing Destiny 3 is. Like, who would have thought like this could be a possibility? And that doesn't happen unless some things shift, move around. So look at the silver lining.
I think that, and like we're really only noticing this because they're sort of prominent in the community. Like they're the people that have got Twitter handles that we interact with and things like that. I mean, it's a company of 700 people. There's got to be people coming and going all the time, you know. And these people have been of what they can do in their role, you know, where they are for some time. So maybe for them it's about personal advancement or you know, doubling down on Patrick's thing as maybe they just needed, you know, somewhere else to go and try their hand at something different to you know, refresh themselves. So I think that, you know, it's easy for everyone to sort of take it at a glance and, you know, do the Chicken Little sky is falling thing and everyone's jumping ship, but I don't really think it's that at all. I think that it's probably a sign of health more than anything. You know, these are people who go out into the industry and be highly thought of and highly sought after. So why wouldn't they be going on and doing other things?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some fresh looks, especially in the Crucible. You know, like I'm looking forward to that. It's just, I don't want Destiny just to be Destiny 1 for the next 10 years, right? I'd like to see, you know, new things come, new things being tried, and sometimes you need new people to do that. So, you know, veterans leaving and going on to do new things gives a chance for you know, the young up and comers to, you know, get leadership positions.
Yep, exactly.
Zen Cupid says, this is a long one, so everybody pay attention.
Okay, pay
attention. I only want to read it once.
All right. Hang on, I'll take notes.
Do you think moving the Luna's Howl and NF to 150 RPM is a way for Bungie to test how console players react to no bloom / low recoil to make future adjustments? Or is it more likely they are unable to remove bloom without a massive system work, and this is just a bloom band-aid?
So the first part, no.
Yeah, like if you want to test to see how players do something, they have an entire division there called user research where they will literally bring in people. They also have, you know, play tests where they are going to do it there. They are players themselves. So no.
They also have the, stuff that they can invite people to play from home to test stuff as well. If they really wanted to do that and wanted to switch up a big thing and see if how players responded to a certain thing, they could be like, hey, we invite you to the test build, download it, tell us what you think. I don't think they would just put it in the live game and be like, fingers crossed, everybody. Let's see how
that's
long
not
rolling the dice.
To the second, what was the fuck was the second part again?
Is it more likely they're unable to remove Bloom without a massive system rework, and this is just a Bloom Band-Aid?
I mean, we have no idea how like Bloom is implemented. Is it just like a fucking static thing where it's like this weapon has Bloom check mark, or is it like every single weapon has a different Bloom value and they're going to have to go in and retune them, even though just remove Bloom? Well, that could completely throw off. Like we don't know what the code looks like, so it could very well be that it is a very difficult thing to actually remove Bloom from all things that have Bloom. So.
I think that this change has literally nothing to do with Bloom.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those buzzwords that everyone jumps on at the moment.
Shouldn't it have something to do with Bloom?
It's a sensitive issue.
It does have something to do with Bloom in the grand scheme of things, I do think, because they are keeping it a 180 frame hand cannon, but a 150 fire rate. So that says to me that they know Bloom might be an issue, but this was like the easiest like method for them to change it, I guess. I don't know.
I kind of am suspecting that these are going to be the best 150 RPM hand cannons now.
Yeah. For console, absolutely.
For console.
It's the only thing that people use. It is the only gun.
So if they take away the major complaint of the rest of the hand cannons, which is Bloom, and that's an if. That's a big if, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not sure that's what's going to happen. Or am I wrong? Are we positive that's what's going to happen?
Or positive what's going to happen?
That these two guns get moved to 150 RPM, but we'll keep the 180.
No,
RPM
yes, that's exactly
Bloom?
that's exactly what I said.
So that'll be. I mean, those will be, I would suspect, the best 150 RPM hand cannons on console.
More or less, yeah. Unless you want something with like, I think kill clip would technically 2-tap. I think that would be enough damage.
Yeah, if you can hit anything.
Yeah, true.
Because there's the thing with Ace of Spades where on console, Ace of Spades feels nice for the first 3 shots, and then after that, you're like, I don't know. I'm trying. I tried. So if there's because we have so much flinch in Destiny, if you get flinched off of one of those shots, you're not gonna kill them in those 3 shots, and then you're like, I'm trying, guys. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Danos has 2 questions for Log. I'm going to ask you one at a time.
Okay.
The first one is, what's the creative process for creating a parody?
I'm driving along in my car, going to work.
All right.
And I realize that there's a song on the radio that vaguely rhymes with something in Destiny that I think is funny.
I like it.
And then I have to sit there and try and rework an entire song worth of lyrics, which is varying degrees of difficulty. But from there, it's just a matter of like rebuilding the song, going through and kind of like comparing a track and putting drums. I've got a lot of programs and things that help me out with that sort of the boring shit. But yeah, and then it ends with me yelling and screaming and carrying on in this room by myself while my family try and ignore it and get on with their life. And then I make a video or whatever and upload it. So it's a vague as hell answer, I know, but really I don't know. I mean, people suggest stuff to me all the time now, which is cool because I kind of get a bit burnt out with trying to think constantly about what else I can take the piss out of. But yeah, that's basically the process.
Nice.
The second question is, Australian humor is often mistaken. How would you best describe our humor? In particular, how would you go about treating your good mates?
I mean, I think the thing I don't think that it's particularly unique in that the better relationship you have with someone, the more horrible you are to them.
Yes, I think that's
that
true.
is ingrained in.
We built a podcast on it.
Yeah, exactly. I think the other thing that Australia does particularly well is tall poppy syndrome. In that, if anyone actually achieves anything with their life, it's sort of everyone else's responsibility to remind them that they're pretty average, and that's the other tenet, the foundation on which the DDU was built, of just reminding Mylan that while he might be great at law, he sucks at everything else. So
Love it.
That's kind of it. That's Australia in a nutshell.
I mean, it's true though. Like the closer you become with your friends, the more you rib them. Really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's especially with things like this. With like there's an outward facing sort of persona that Matt has, where he's like welcome back. Fucking shit, it's all quiet. And when I first met him, he is literally nothing like that in person. And anyone who's met him would know that he's like loud and obnoxious and kind of the exact opposite. So I think it's just funny that we would pay him out about that.
Alexander Free says, do you think that Destiny content creators and content creators in general should be more careful with how they discuss things like rumors and leaks? Often I see this being a main reason for misinformation spread, and I'd love it if people were more careful.
Yeah.
I would like that on both sides of things. If you hear something, ask, okay, what's that from? Is that confirmed? Then I would also like content creators to definitely do their good diligence and say, hey, this is a leak and whatnot, or this isn't confirmed or anything. I feel like both sides of the equation could do a hell of a lot better job, but
yeah, the problem with that is that content creators are not journalists. And a lot of people end up thinking of content creators essentially as journalists when it's far from the truth. And there's just a lot of competition out there, and there's a lot of people who are like, let's get clickbaity, man. And they just go down that path.
All about the views.
I've had people come into stream and be like, so with Destiny 3 having blah, 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 what do you think about doing this to it in the future? I'm like, we don't even know that Destiny 3 is a thing, my friend.
Where'd you hear that? That's what I ask. Where'd you hear that?
Yeah. From Reddit,
if I get an answer, yeah. But with leaks, I think it's fine to discuss rumors and leaks. Like, I think it's fine. As long as you start the conversation by saying, this is an unconfirmed rumor or leak, right? It's like
speculation.
It's content, it's speculation. It's something to talk about. But you gotta make sure that you are framing that conversation as this is all theoretical, right? This is just something that we're talking about in the framework that it's unconfirmed altogether.
Yeah.
I think what when the problem starts happening is if somebody starts saying, it's the telephone game where, like, I'll say, hey, Tefty, wouldn't it be cool if there was Fallout 3 power armor in Destiny 3? And then Tefty says to Watts, hey, I heard there might be power armor in Destiny 3. And then Watts says to Log, there's power armor in Destiny 3. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Where like
about it and tell everyone.
Yeah, but then you start setting expectations for Destiny 3. And then everybody who goes and plays Destiny 3 says, what the fuck? There's no power armor in Destiny 3. This is bullshit. They said there was going to be power armor. Right? And like they put it on the devs that like they have the community has built this expectation that the devs can't live up to. I think Destiny 2 suffered from that a little bit.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Where, everybody kind of had these expectations. Oh, well, I'd love Destiny 2 to be much more RPG focused, where like there's much more character customizability. And we kind of set our expectations in that direction because, it almost seemed like that's the direction they were heading with Destiny 1. By the end, there was so much more customizability. And then they ended up going in their reverse direction, and that was really disappointing for the community.
Yeah, and sometimes that was just sometimes it happens with the company as well, like the whole "you're 10th better devils" type of statement. Like they're there are things that do get
That's
set
true, too.
up, but at the same time, I feel like the spin of content creators is all about what is going to generate you the most views on that stuff, and that's why games like No Man's Sky and Anthem just got like pitted so hard when it's like, yeah, we get it, there's problems, but it's like, but this is generating clicks, so we're gonna.
Yeah, why do you think Destiny got shit on for like?
Yeah.
It still gets shit on, and it's like
Exactly.
people fucking.
All right, so there's those
people
guys.
love this shit, man.
Mhm.
People
Yeah,
love
There's
they
those
do.
guys, but those guys aren't the community, right? They're not.
Sure.
They're guys that kind of pass through. Like they skim from highlight to highlight. They go from, they'll go from the Division to Borderlands to Destiny, depending on what the hot game is, and they're just skimming the top. Whereas the people that are in the community, like people who make content day in, day out for Destiny, they're not really doing that. They're framing a conversation that this is a leak or this is an idea I have, or
Interesting.
something like that.
Huh.
I think the other thing that we're really susceptible to in the Destiny community, at least, is when we get snippets of information or hot takes or whatever that are particularly emotive too. And instead of people taking the time to think about things logically, you're seeing things peddled out and, like more hot takes, right? Like to name the most recent example, remember when PvP wasn't going to be in Destiny 3? Like that whole thing,
Jesus.
and it's one of those things that from the outside, and if you're not emotive about it, you kind of go, that is the dumbest shit out. Like, why would they literally cut the game in half? That makes no sense. And
I honestly don't think
it seems fucking absurd, but people jump in and they're like, oh, but that's my whole fucking life. Or, you get the other side of the thing, and the people that never play PvP and they're like, fuck PvP. And it becomes this massive echo chamber of just nonsense to the point that Bungie basically address just rubbish, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think we fall victim to that a little bit.
So in a situation like that, I don't think that any content creator that is like staying in the Destiny community is going to like report that as fact. They may though have a conversation about it. Like, oh, there's this rumor right now that I think we had a conversation about it on this podcast where, what do you guys like? I think I introduced it too. I think I said like, so what would you guys think
Briar's fault.
if they, didn't include, PvP in Destiny 3? I'm not introducing it as, a fact, but as a discussion point, as a topic of conversation.
I remember.
Let's be honest. We got 3 hours to cover on a weekly basis about a game. One game.
We just called him crazy. And
Yeah, our answer was clearly we would just eat Briar, so we moved on from it. Yeah,
that's your answer to too many questions.
I mean,
I'm so glad we found it.
it's true.
It's a good
though.
answer.
Thanks, Barry.
But getting back to the question, Alexander, I do think, if a content creator wants to stay like in a game and be a respected content creator, especially among his peers, then yeah, I think they should be careful what they discuss or how they discuss it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's
They
fine
should-
using Reddit posts or rumors or leaks or whatever as starting a way to have a conversation about something, but it's when you're like, so Destiny 3 has no PvP, or like the way Briar brought it up is, how would you guys feel if it just turned into a PvE game?
Yeah,
They're very different ways of approaching the topic.
exactly. Yeah, there's ways to not.
I'm looking forward to getting on Reddit and just did you see DCP talked about how there's no PvP?
Confirmed, no PvP. Wow.
There you go. Blame me. It's fine. I'm only here once. It's fine.
Aussies
Gonna all
striking
be
in
fast
and
as
taking away our PvP. Unbelievable.
It's goddamn Austrians.
Austrians and their ruse. I don't even know what these ruse are.
No, nor do I. That's fine.
Dylan Barry says, do you guys think Leviathan will be patrollable when Season of Opulence lands? Do you think Leviathan will be a patrollable area? I don't think so.
Interesting.
I mean, like
It's a big question mark.
zone.
What if they just take the Dreadnought and then just slap pretty gold colors on it and be like, yeah, guys, it's totally the ship here.
You know,
I'd fall for it.
this is really funny because this is exactly what we just talked about like the Leviathan. The Leviathan's a patrollable space now. It's like, That wasn't confirmed at all.
We definitely need to paraphrase and jump to conclusions at this point. That's the only logical
confirmed. The Dreadnought will be patrollable in the season of opulence.
And it's gonna have pretty colors.
All we've seen about this season is there was like a statue of Callus, and now we're patrolling the Dreadnought Leviathan. Very excited for that.
Yeah, based on previous, I would set expectations based on previous seasons.
Yeah,
and previous seasons did not have new patrollable areas.
Yeah, exactly.
My guess is the raid's gonna have something to do with like Callus's story. Would be my assumption, but maybe not.
And there is that 6-man activity. Maybe it's
6-man activity. Maybe it's on the Leviathan.
6-man patrollable on the Leviathan. Maybe. Who knows?
Look, I'm happy to be surprised, but I'm setting expectations off of previous seasons.
I'm saying there's going to be Court of Callus. Court of Callus.
Court of Callus.
Of previous seasons.
6-man activity. Court of Callus.
I like it.
Court of Callus, I feel like is just 6 dudes getting shit housed.
It's just a big bathhouse, and if you have a tattoo, you get kicked out.
Yeah, in a Japanese sauna, nobody's wearing tattoos because that shit's not allowed.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'll sit like this.
6-man oil up party.
6-man oil up.
Personally,
I think
you're selling it well. You're selling it well.
I do think though, Season of Opulence has to deliver because this will be the last thing that people remember on the season pass. And if they are planning on selling another season pass, this one's got to be juicy. It's got to be filled up with a lot of stuff. I mean, it's already having a raid, and they're calling it a raid, so that's already like a big selling point for Destiny fans.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, but
that is a good point. And the next one has to go up against Borderlands 3.
Yeah, I mean we're just calling that one, obviously. Yeah, I think they need to pick their battles, and they definitely shouldn't throw anything big at the Borderlands 3 launch, in my opinion.
I agree, and I think that like just touching on that, for that reason, I think Destiny and Borderlands 3 can coexist really well if the timing around it is absolutely bang on. Yeah. And if they both play their cards right. Like,
I mean, September is
huge part of the same audience.
Bungie's month, though.
Yeah.
Why don't they just move to July, the 7th month? Come on. Come on.
You see, it's been their month with Activision. That's why I always think is like I always felt like the September releases were Activision's.
No, that's not true. That was true with Halo as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Halo was a September thing.
All right. I mean, yeah, but they don't own that anymore.
No.
I mean, it's a month.
They also didn't release a Halo every single September. They didn't release a new Halo every September. They buffered it. So
no.
Honestly, I would play both. If they came out on the exact same day, I would just play both that same day, and I would stream for 15 hours, and it would be great. Because the season pass stuff comes out at 10 a.m., right? But usually when a new game comes out, it comes out at midnight. So you play Borderlands at midnight, and then you go to Destiny at 10 a.m. I see no problem.
I can't wait for the Reddit post about how they're both being released on the same day. This is going to be great.
That's confirmed. Yep.
Confirmed release date, September 13th. Season
Destiny 3.
Like,
going to
if
be
Season of Opulence kills it, to me, a lot would depend. And they wanted to keep their September release date. Well, I mean, what's a release date for a season pass, right? It's like, are they going to try? True. We don't even know they're going to try and sell another season pass. That's all rumor and speculation.
That's all rumor.
No, it's fact at this point. So, Reddit told me.
Oh, well, if Reddit
we make it fact.
There's been a lot of people, specifically on Twitter, that have told me this is the case.
Yeah. I think another season pass for Destiny 2 is a hard sell on its own. It doesn't matter what it's competing against. I think it's just a hard fucking sell because I don't think they did a good job with this first one, in all honesty.
What if September is a huge release and it's awesome, and Season of Opulence
like a Forsaken type of release?
I don't know if they can do Forsaken again. I don't know if they can do Forsaken every year. I was thinking more like Rise of Iron type stuff. I think Rise of Iron was a solid content drop for Destiny. Yeah, it wasn't crazy big, but it was still a good amount of story and new content to get into. The raid was great.
Yeah, I'd love another Rise of Iron.
Yeah,
it'd be more than I expect at this point.
I'd be very surprised if a Rise of Iron size DLC shows up. September. I'd be pleasantly surprised.
At this point, I like in my head, I just feel like Bungie is working on Destiny 3, and they're gonna let Destiny 2 limp along until the point where they release Destiny 3. And in my head, that just means another season pass. I don't know if that's true. That's just the story I've told myself.
See, I also don't mind another season pass if they correct the things about the season pass and point it more towards an interesting journey through the assets that they already have. Like if they're able to do that, then cool. And also wouldn't be as so aggressive like, oh, I have to play this on this date to make sure I get everything. It's more like they're refreshing the content and make it more interesting to go into the worlds that they already built or have adjusted for new season content type of stuff.
Yeah. I would really like if these season passes were kind of introducing us to little tidbits of a story, and then there was a big release on September that's like, here's the end of all these little stories.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and then you kick off more stories and you keep doing that. I think that'll be cool.
Yeah, we can't be getting the same loot.
Yeah,
it's the world loot, like you said, Tufty.
Yeah.
It's the world loot.
It makes.
I think
it
that's
really
the
poor.
one big sticking point. Like where we're getting 15 new sparrows and 15 new ghost shells and no new armor is probably what's stinging people the most.
Yeah,
and I understand that the business side to all of that, and that be that as it may, I would love to see half as many sparrows, especially the slow ones. No one uses them anyway.
100%, man. 100%. Like
And just armor. That's it.
let's have new gun models, new weapons, like armor.
It's like Sparrow, Ships, and Ghosts from Eververse have absolutely no value to me as a player. It's like, here's this other shit that I'm probably not
Hard
going to
agree.
Mm-hmm.
But then Sparrow, Ships, and Ghosts from stuff that like I attain. Okay.
Yeah.
Like if I have to work for this in some way. Okay.
Absolutely.
Like I like that a little bit more.
If it's a trophy for something I've done.
Like the Whisper of the Wormship.
Yep.
Still haven't
People
taken that
still
on.
like, where is that thing from?
Yeah.
It's one of the few things that people say that about.
Mm-hmm.
Red DSW says, which do you think would be more successful with the community? $60 D3 minus Eververse or free-to-play D3 with Eververse microtransactions similar to its current state? Red, I think you're living in a dream world. I think you are in the
Can't separate
fucking
them.
Neverland.
Yeah,
Flying around with Peter Pan and the Lost Boys.
someone who counts beans at Bungie has just had a stroke and fallen off their
Yeah,
chair.
they just suddenly woke up from a night terror.
It is 8 p.m. here, Tefty. None of them are asleep.
In the accounting department?
The accounting department
They
never
go to bed.
sleeps. Come on. Don't you know that?
Maybe they're on the East Coast.
Yeah. They're clearly in New York.
Yeah, the Vicarious Vision is actually the big
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't see this happening. A $60 D3 minus the Eververse, I don't see it happening. Like I just don't. I'm sorry. Like I'd love to get. I honestly think there's a argument to be made that video games should be more expensive. Like the base price of video games should be more expensive than they are. Because to be honest with you, we're paying the same amount as NES games.
And games are costing millions to create.
That's
Mhm.
that's
I
correct.
agree.
They're,
I
well, they're
agree.
making
And
a
I
lot
think-
more. They're selling a hell of a lot more copies
Yeah.
than they did in the 80s, right?
For sure.
But they still cost the same. And I do think there is an argument that the price of games should go up based on the content provided. With the caveat being that I don't want to be nickel and dimed while I'm playing that game.
Yeah.
Like I just don't want that to happen.
The one thing that I have liked about the way Destiny does this stuff, at least, is the microtransaction stuff isn't thrown in your face. There's like with Anthem, for example, you could access their store where you can purchase stuff anywhere. You could access it in more places than your actual forge. Just switch your loadout. There's a lot of games where the things are thrown in your face as, hey, there's this really cool thing that you should totally purchase. Whereas at least Eververse is kind of you know, it's in the corner. I can go see it if I want to. I can also not look at it if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the reality of
if
that
the
sort of
option
stuff
were
is-
available for me to buy a $100 edition of Destiny 3 and just automatically get all the stuff that the Eververse includes, well, I don't know. I still wouldn't be in on that. Like, because
Yeah,
like I'd just rather have all the stuff that's in Eververse
in the game.
Like be
Yeah.
earnable. Like that's really my problem. Is not that like I have to pay extra for it. It's just that like so much new content comes out in the form of the Eververse being a microtransaction as
Yeah.
opposed to motivating me to go play the game.
Yeah. It's interesting. There, Randy Pitchford screwed up the way he mentioned things in microtransactions.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I got a question about that, Tefty. Can we wait to have that conversation?
I was gonna. You want to read that next? Because I was gonna connect it to this.
Yeah, fuck it. I'll just skip to it because I think it's like 3 questions down. I can't find it. Tefty, just talk about it.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. Matt Grundy says, what are your thoughts about microtransactions, the microtransaction drama involving Randy and GI surrounding Borderlands 3?
So he said that there will be no microtransactions in Borderlands 3. That you'll just be able to buy some cosmetics, just like it was in Borderlands 2, which definitely wasn't invasive or anything like that. But they are technically microtransactions. So there's this disconnect that's happening with Randy Pitchford and the term microtransactions, and clearly they're microtransactions because it's a small purchase for a cosmetic item. That's a microtransaction. Nobody's getting fooled about that. So there's
in a world where horse armor was the first microtransaction, this very much fits the definition of microtransaction.
It absolutely is a microtransaction. The difference, though, in Borderlands 3 is that the amount of content and loot that you're going to be able to get without paying any microtransactions is enormous in comparison to the discussion that we just had about Eververse, where you feel like half the things that are put in there are things that would have been really freaking cool to end at the end of a strike, raid, lost sector, PvP match. So many things that are in Eververse are like, I would have liked to see that drop for me after I just did that strike. That would have looked cool. Oh, that armor looks like it could have been part of the seasonal stuff that is happening in the game. Like that's the big difference with this stuff, is that microtransactions, I don't really care so long as I'm really satisfied with the game. But when the looter shooter is starved for content and then adds a ton of things into the microtransaction store, even though I could get it by just grinding for engrams, that's where the issues arise, you know?
Yeah.
And also, I think some of that's being misunderstood as well on the whole Borderlands 3 front, because I feel like the culture of games and discussing about microtransactions has become, well, the game's half done. You have to buy microtransactions now to get the whole game. And that's definitely not what it looks like is going to happen with Borderlands 3. It's just that's how they did Borderlands 2, and everybody was fine with it.
I feel like what Randy Pitchford kind of meant was there's not going to be loot boxes.
Yeah, that is what he meant. Things that would affect your actual gameplay. There's none of that in there.
Yeah.
His rant was legendary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty legendary. If you haven't followed Randy Pitchford on Twitter, do that now.
It is pretty funny. Yeah.
But I will say this. Look, if I could buy a microtransaction for a skin for my character, or if I could earn it by playing Borderlands 3 and fulfilling some achievement, guess which one I'd rather have in the game?
Yup.
I mean, like, look, I mean, it's still a microtransaction, Randy.
Yeah.
Like, and
It is,
I'm
yeah.
glad that you're not doing loot boxes, because I think those have been established to be pretty predatory at this point. But like, I'd still rather like defeat like some crazy ass raid boss and get a cosmetic item than go and pay for it as a separate microtransaction.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
How many more questions do you want to do?
A ton more, man.
About 5 hours worth.
Dylan says
It's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon for me. I'm good.
Dylan says, for Tefty and Breyer, fresh off the Borderlands 3 event, would you recommend playing any previous Borderlands games, or just dive right into 3 when it releases?
If
Before you guys start, could I just say that they did say that Borderlands 3 would be a really good starting point for people who are brand new to the series. So that's
I would
what
agree
they
with
said.
that.
Just to keep that in mind.
I don't think the Borderlands lore is something like that you can't just jump into halfway through. You know, like from the way the game, they basically showed the beginning of the game, and like you're gonna be able to just jump into that and maybe watch a YouTube video to catch you up on some of the characters that you're not real sure like who they are. But I'll say this: I think Borderlands 2 is still a good play in 2019. And if you're looking for something to do over the summer, I think it's not a bad idea to jump in and just play through the campaign once. You don't have to like grind it for 600 hours.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
and then play Tiny Tina DLC.
Yeah, agreed.
Just
yeah. I would say you're not going to have any problems if you wait till Borderlands 3. If you do want to jump in right now, Borderlands 2 is definitely the way to do it. Borderlands 1 did get a remaster, but it still is old. And
yeah,
it's still Borderlands.
Yeah, it's still Borderlands.
It's fun. It's a fun game.
It is fun,
still.
Yeah. I had fun farming Carmarax, but I'm also a fan of the franchise. If I wasn't a fan of the franchise, I feel like Borderlands 1 would be a little rough of a first take.
Having never played Borderlands 1, and I jumped into it about a little over a month ago.
With the remaster?
Yeah. No, before the remaster.
Remaster fixes quite a lot, but yeah.
Does it fix the absolute shit gunplay? Because that's what I'm mostly worried about.
If you come from Destiny, it's not going to scratch that itch.
That game is like, when did Borderlands 1 came out? It came out like
2009.
2000.
It's an
2009,
old
yeah.
game.
Yeah. Which, in all honesty, doesn't really excuse it. I mean, Halo
Right.
came out in like 2000.
Oh,
Yeah, but it was also the first time they actually did a looter shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Look,
say just go with Borderlands 2, honestly. If you want to jump in, just go with Borderlands 2. You'll have a better experience going straight to 2 rather than going all the way back to 1. And I don't think it's necessary to go all the way back to 1.
I don't think so either. You
go
might
read the
want to
Wikipedia
check
page
out
on
like
the story.
Yeah, you might want to check out like just go to YouTube and watch like the ending cutscene of Borderlands 1 just because it's somewhat interesting in like a weird way. Just because of like the twist it gave. But Borderlands, like if you just want to play through a game, I think Borderlands 2 is enough. And even then, I don't think it's necessary. I think you'll just be able to jump into Borderlands 3.
Yeah, I think they're
And
very
don't
aware.
burn yourself out on Borderlands either, because
Yeah.
like don't play Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, the pre-sequel, and then like you're just like
Tales from Borderlands.
completely immersed in Borderlands, and you'll be like, Borderlands 3 comes out, and you're just like, I'm just kind of sick of Borderlands at this point. Like don't do that to yourself. Next question comes from Franz, who says, Borderlands looks great, but is it innovative enough? I was really hoping they would expand loot to include some form of armor loot to further expand gameplay and movement system. What are the crew's thoughts on this?
Apparently,
Well, they definitely expanded movement systems, right?
Definitely do that.
I believe
But
they
it doesn't look
talked
like there's
about.
going to be armor.
I think the devs actually talked about. I can't remember where, or maybe if this was a conversation I had with the dev. But they looked into it, and they realized it wasn't Borderlands. So they said, "We're not doing this. We're sticking with what works with Borderlands." So they went down a path trying armor, and it didn't turn out the way they wanted it.
Well, it's like, so look at Destiny 1, right? We had a big change from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. And we didn't need that. Destiny 1 hit some really good things that we all really liked. And I think they didn't need to change a lot of the stuff that they changed. If a community really likes the way a game is, if they make it feel cleaner, feel smoother, update the graphics, add more of what the community likes, then I don't think they need to be super innovative, changing everything about the game. I really don't think that's necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I think they do. Like I played Fallout 4 and I couldn't wait to play Fallout 4 because I was like, oh, look, they just made more Fallout 3. And then I played it and I was like, oh, fuck, they just made more Fallout 3. I kind of feel a little bit about that like Destiny 2. It's like, I really wanted some new stuff. Like, I want to feel that magic of like exploring new systems, new stuff. Borderlands does have shields though, and they do have new systems. It looks like to like kind of manage your health. So it's like you're not wearing armor that's gonna, you're not wearing cosmetic armor that's gonna mess with your gameplay, but you know there are armor aspects, right? Like with the shields and
It's mostly the shield, honestly. It's shield, class item,
the shield.
and maybe if the relics are back or something. I didn't look at that part.
The loot system was changed, right? You can now have your own personalized loot, so you're not fighting over loot with people. That's a system that was changed.
Yeah, that was a big change right there.
Yeah.
Yep. They've definitely done a lot of innovations.
You can turn it off. Like you can go back to the old way where you're fighting over loot.
Yep.
Yeah, this.
I'm not gonna loot's mine.
I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Like, I walked
I don't
in.
think anyone's gonna do that.
I walked into the demo nervous about whether or not they had evolved the game enough as a fan, and I walked away like blown away. So,
Hi Junior says, so the Sonic trailer was a thing. You guys see the Sonic thing?
yeah, that happened.
Yes. Let's talk
With the
about
recent promise of changing Sonic's design so late in production, would it be better for it to die in a dumpster or try and salvage the cost of their CGI staff's sanity? So they did.
I liked reading through like the various Reddit posts on like, oh yeah, all they have to do is just like change the model some. It'll be super easy. That's not how that works. That's not how that works at all.
Dude, that's what they said they were gonna do. They said on Twitter that they're gonna.
Well, yes.
Thank you for the feedback. We're gonna update the way the Sonic.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see that. I was like, really?
I'm very surprised at that because how long is it until the movie's supposed to come out?
6 months.
They're delaying that. That's getting pushed. No way.
An entirely CG generated character that will most likely have to have entirely new facial animations because that's the thing that's fucked up about it.
And the legs.
No, everything's fucked up.
Not just the
like
facial
his legs,
animations.
his arms,
Okay.
like, the proportions, every part of it is fucked.
Okay, fine. The point I'm trying to make is it's a fuck ton of work, as in it's a lot more than 6 months of work. And hey, remember how we're talking about how fucking crunch culture is absolute bullshit and we should probably try to make that not happen in the video game industry? And then there's like the people in the fucking, film industry that are going through the exact same thing. And the
worst of it is the CGI guys, right?
Yeah,
because they're all contractors. So they get fucked the hardest.
Exactly.
And then when a studio is done with you, they just like go out of business.
Yeah. No, like
I think the best thing I've seen out of it. Sorry, man.
No,
the best thing I've seen out of it is the conspiracy theory that they deliberately made Sonic look shit to get this reaction to then come out. Sorry, because it's gonna go viral. Look, if that in the fullness of time. If that in the fullness of time comes out to be true, I will be fucking. I don't know.
The greatest.
That's where I'm going with this.
That's my new flat Earth right there.
I would only believe that if like next week we saw like a fully rendered model and like the entire trailer redone. So it's like, oh, okay. Like if there's like a very short turnaround time to like getting new stuff, okay, I could totally see it. But no,
yeah, the dream.
That would be incredible.
Also, why Gangster's Paradise?
Oh my god,
yeah, that was weird, man.
It did not go with the movie at all. I was really confused.
Yeah.
I have no answer.
It was already used in a movie. It was a song written for a movie.
Yeah, it's originally for that movie from the 90s, was it?
Yeah, with Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't remember the name of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Weird Al Yankovic did a cover of it. It's great.
Wasn't it called
That's
Gangster's
right.
Paradise?
Something
Arguably better.
Minds?
Criminal Minds.
Oh, Criminal Minds.
Criminal
Minds.
Yeah.
Criminal Minds?
Or is that?
That's a show.
Yeah. Wasn't it a movie also?
Someone in chat's gonna know. Dangerous Minds.
Dangerous
There you
Minds.
go.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Thank you, Jetson. Thank you.
Yeah, that music did not fit the trailer.
I was just like, what? Why? Nothing. And then why are they making a movie about Sonic? It doesn't even make any sense.
Fuck it.
Have you played the last few Sonic games? They don't make much sense either.
Nothing about Sonic makes sense.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Once
Absolutely.
Sonic entered the human realm and like had like a human girlfriend, like shit just got weird.
Why chili dogs? Why are chili dogs? Fuck it. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Why didn't I get a chili dog from the Sonic chili dog stand?
Let's take a breath. Let's not start hating on chili dogs here.
I'm not hating on chili dogs. I'm
Okay.
I'm asking why Sonic a Hedgehog prefers chili dogs.
I would
Chili dogs are
prefer
awesome.
Sonic the Detective movie is what I would prefer.
Well, lucky for you, there's a Pikachu
On the
detective
10th?
movie
It's gonna be
coming
way
out
better
very
than the
soon.
Just
freaking Sonic movie.
Fuck with the color balance settings. He'll be blue. It's fine.
Sam Moxie says, what game do you have a good memory and think about replaying, but it never did or you never did or waited for a remastered version?
Witcher 3.
Wow.
You son of
Can't
a
believe you
bitch.
said that.
Majora's Mask, even though it did get a remastered version, and I bought a 3DS. I bought like the Majora's Mask edition of the 3DS, and then like I played it for about 15 minutes. I got through like the starting level and like got to the first dungeon, and I was like, my hands are in unbelievable pain right now because this 3DS is the most uncomfortable thing I've ever held.
Really?
I don't think I can. I don't think I can
introduce
finish
you
this
to
game.
the original PSP sometime.
I actually played that. I played that, and it was still okay. It was
The
okay.
3DS is like a country club for your fingers compared to the original PSP. Anybody got another answer for a game that they missed, but they'd love to check out?
Halo, like when Master Chief Collection came out with all the remastered Halos, and I went, I am going to absolutely dive into this, and then just didn't. And then it never happened. It's one of those things. I'm waiting for Reach to come out, but I hope the same thing doesn't happen with that.
You play the originals. You play the originals, though. So what's a game that you missed completely?
Oh, that I had to miss it completely. Then I take my answer back. I still fucking hate the 3DS though.
Missed completely. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Witcher 3 actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me go open up my fucking Steam folder and have like the hundreds of games that I purchase on Steam summer sales.
While Patrick's doing
Spec
that,
Ops: The Line. There we go.
I'm going to let you guys know that Golden Week is currently happening on Steam, and Nekopara is $1.
What is
so
that?
if you want to play Nekopara, not on stream because it's banned.
It's hella banned.
It's $1. So there's also a game called called Akiba Strip, where there's demons or something in Akihabara in Japan, and the way that you get rid of them is by taking their clothes off, and then they disintegrate in the sunlight. So you can buy that.
Sounds wholesome. Something you can play with the whole family.
I might play it on stream. It looks pretty good.
To everyone asking why Nekopara is banned, because look, it's a game. There's cat girls and
all right.
Right, enough said.
There's cat girls, and it's a visual. They tried to make it seem like it was a dating sim when it was a visual novel.
Game.
It is actually just a visual novel with
it's a porn.
The only setting being boob physics.
I have no interest in that. I have no interest in that. What was
I'm
it
going to
called
play
again?
it on YouTube.
For $1, you
Nekopara.
Wow.
Where would one find that? I need to steer away from that place.
Yeah, just give me the link so I can avoid it.
I need to ban it from my browser, please.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Getting back to the question, I've never played Skyrim, and it's a game that I've always wanted to play. There's been plenty of remasters. There's been plenty of opportunities.
You can play it on your
you can play it on Switch, right? You can play it on Alexa, but I've never gotten around to play
it on Alexa. Yeah, Brian, I was in your boat last year, I think, when I played it, and I had a great time playing it. It was fun.
Yeah. I hear it still holds up, and you can mod it to make it look like a modern game.
Yeah, but honestly, you don't even really need to.
That are insane.
You don't need to.
No.
Yeah, the game's great.
I'm going to use my answer to say that the Sonic movie should be Sonic. Sonic does a track team in school, and he's just a coach. Sonic the coach. Coach Sonic is what the story should be.
Okay.
I don't want Sonic anywhere near my kids.
He teaches kids how to run fast.
Okay.
And he's just like he's like an old man Sonic.
So he's like taking
even worse.
like unlikely candidates, like they're not
drive
going
a white
anywhere.
van that says free candy on it.
And then Knuckles is also there, like as a boxing coach or something.
All right.
What's Tails doing?
Tails is teaching people how to climb the rope.
Tails just likes to watch.
How
So,
about Tails
Tails
died from a
like-
drug addiction? How about that?
Yeah, and the
I
other
like
two
that.
sorted their life out as a result.
Yeah. But you get flashbacks of when they were like
Oh,
running
perfect.
as like a
So
gang,
basically,
right?
it's like train. It's gonna be like train spotting, but
I like
Yeah, but
this
with
movie
Sonic.
a lot.
Yeah, Sonic.
In a school with kids.
Mm.
Oh
I'm
god.
gonna move on. Zygerian says,
Yeah.
question for everyone: have any of you all legit cried or shed a tear for a sad or happy moment in a game?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely.
Walking Dead season 1 of that game, my God, made me cry. I think Senua's Sacrifice, I think I got a little emotional during that as well.
Yeah.
There's
I
probably
definitely did.
a
I don't know
lot.
if I cried outright because I was streaming, so I was trying to keep a
Johnny T.
brave face.
I'm fine.
Can anybody remember the first time
Halo.
they cried? Has there? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're right. I was just going to say the end of Reach. I don't know that I actually cried, but I probably should have cried.
When they
I think I just repressed it.
the glass in the planet.
Force that deep down. Yep. I'm looking
I think
forward
the
to
first
revisiting
time I
that.
cried in a video game was when I was playing Grandia 3 on the Dreamcast. I think that's the first time that a game was able to emotionally kind of grab me enough to get me to cry.
I've never cried during a video game. I've only cried during a single movie, and that was Armageddon. The end of Armageddon.
You've been watching and playing the wrong things.
I don't know, man.
It's that end scene, man, where the Aerosmith starts, wailing in, and they're panning over all the
Goddamn
people
you,
that
Steven
died.
Tyler.
Michael Bay is a master. What can I say?
It really got to like 12-year-old me or however old I was, man.
Brutal.
I feel like it's happening more though in modern games than it ever did in the past. Like games, I don't know if it's definitely the writing, but also the way that animation is able to kind of convince me that I'm looking at people as opposed to, just like characters with like animated mouths.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel more connected to characters and to stories in modern games. And I just feel like that art form is progressing at a very rapid pace.
Yeah, I agree. I think recently I felt like I got pretty emotional during God of War playing that because the story was really well done.
It was good.
Yeah.
BTank513 says, since Log is an internationally known sleeveless t-shirt connoisseur, what is your favorite tee and how does one take their sleeveless shirt game to the next level?
I mean, really, there's not much to it. You just get you get a T-shirt and there's a stitch, and you just unstitch it.
You
It's
unstitch it, no
the
scissors
least-
involved
You're
here?
not
Do you have,
buying
like,
it that
stitch
way.
switch, or-
You're not buying it that way. You're actually like
No.
modifying your shirts.
No. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. It's commitment. It's a hobby. That's the least metal thing you can imagine a metal dude doing is like
No.
unstitching the sleeves on
No,
a
I
shirt.
know some punk people that are really into like embroidery work.
huh.
Punk is not metal.
But that's basically it. Just unstitch the sleeve. Punk is
Damn.
punk. Punk's its thing. It's fine.
Punk is punk.
Punk's punk, guys.
It's
Not
not
metal. Metal's metal.
It's okay. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know why anyone would want to do that. It's one of those things that I kind of fell into, and now when I wear a normal shirt, I feel like I'm in some kind of prison. So I'm kind of stuck like this now. So I'd recommend you not do it at all. Just stay away.
Flannel Duck says, what's your favorite concert that you've ever been to?
Ooh. Probably for me, first time I saw Iron Maiden. First time I saw Iron Maiden because I hadn't been to Australia in 27 years or like ever in my life. And I think one of them got done for weed possession or something when they were here in like the 80s. And they went, fuck that, we're never going back. And it took 27 years for them to drop the grudge. And then they came, I saw him like up the entire East Coast. I saw him 4 times in a week and a half or something like that. So
Wow, cool.
I was poor, but I was very happy. So there's that.
Probably Tool.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, Tool puts on a fucking amazing show. Basically, anything Maynard is involved in, the live shows are just like an absolute treat.
Maid Cafe glow stick maid dance.
That was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Top notch.
Do you think that's something that could ever work in the West? Right?
No.
Like, or is it just no, doesn't cross over?
I mean, you got to be, of age to enter the places here that do,
Not glow stick dances. Everyone deserves to see a maid glow stick dance.
I'm gonna have to Google it. I think
You can't take video of the glow stick dances, so
prohibited.
please report any videos that you find.
Yes, they are. You're not allowed to record such things.
okay. All right.
You go to the Maid Cafe because they each have an exclusive dance.
Yes. Yes.
I saw a concert that had it was like a split bill with Santana and Rusted Root, and they both got on stage at the end of the concert, like the Rusted Root and Santana did, and that it was really good concert. It was
Nice.
like just all together, like just fantastic.
I went to a
Rusted Root,
Spice
I don't
Girls
think exists
concert.
anymore.
Nice.
I watched a couple of the videos on repeat.
Same.
Didn't know you could like wear out the internet on one part of the
Interesting.
video, but
Yeah.
turns out it happened.
I saw Billy Joel and Elton John. They did a tour
Ooh.
back
Wow.
like
Wow.
Yeah, this was like 2000 or 99, something like that. My mom took me actually, and it was a pretty amazing concert. It was like 3 hours, and they played, both of them played 3 hours, and they had like the pianos tucked into each other, and they'd like swap songs.
Oh, they were on stage together.
They're on stage. Well, not the whole time, but like at the end,
That's
they
amazing.
came on and did songs together and swapped their songs, and they both played Piano Man. Also, like they
Oh man,
destroyed it.
That sounds
It was
great.
an amazing concert.
I saw Billy Joel a few times. Billy Joel is one of my favorite artists of all time.
Didn't we sing
Oh,
Billy
John's
Joel at
favorite.
karaoke night?
Yes, we did.
That was
Yeah.
one of the early songs that we did, so I remember it.
Patrick was very drunk.
Beer was
That
free.
one beer
Don't
limit for
judge me.
Pat. Really tough.
No, it was the
Beer was
double
free.
whiskey that probably kickstarted everything.
And then the unlimited beers on
And
top
the
of that.
unlimited beer, and then yeah.
I don't feel like any harm has ever come to man after unlimited beer.
I was still able to get up and
refuse to believe
moving.
it.
I was still able to get up and moving at like 1 p.m. the next day.
If you add any shots into that, all bets are off.
Double whiskey. Had a double whiskey, so
Bubba J77 says, for Holtz, should I enter the crawfish eating contest tomorrow at our local crawfish festival?
yeah.
Have any
Yeah.
tips?
There you
There's a rhythm you need to get into with eating these things. Okay, you need to be. You can't like be slow. You can't like. You got to be okay with sometimes biting your own finger. Maybe like getting a shell caught into your finger.
Okay.
Um,
A little collateral
you know,
damage.
Yeah. Like generally when I've gone into like a big crawfish eating festival thing, I'm usually walking away with some blisters.
How seasoned are you on these festivals? It's a yearly ritual? I don't know. I'm just curious.
It used to be like at least 3 times a year.
We need to
thing.
know a resume. That's all I'm saying.
Mm.
Well, I mean, okay, we would have at least 2 to 3 at my dad's place. That was just like the family one where,
this is dinner.
that was basically like, hey, we're gonna have a couple people over. Let's cook some crawfish. Let's go get.
And then
50
you turn
pounds.
into a contest.
No, that's just how I ate.
I see.
And then like when you go to an actual festival, yeah, like you'd usually find the ones that say unlimited because
Why would
I'm
you
gonna
not?
start. Why would you not? And you want to find ones by reputable people too,
Of course.
because
No second.
You don't want
Here's
any
the thing.
spiked crawdad.
No second
Well,
rate.
no,
I'm
you
going
just
to need
don't- you
some
don't want
follow up
shit
here by
crawdads.
Bubba J77. I'm going to need to know. I want
But
want
it's
some
tomorrow,
videos,
Brian.
Bubba, I need some video, and I also want to know the winning amount of crawfish
Yes.
for a crawfish
In poundage.
eating
Festival.
festival And if it's more or less than 15 fucking pounds.
Yes.
I don't agree. I don't agree to that because what if everyone in the contest sucks?
I'm not asking you. I'm asking Bubba.
Yeah.
Bubba, get back to
You could
us.
be a world
What is
record
the
holder
winning
here.
amount
You
of
gotta-
crawfish?
I would like to know this.
This
as
is
well.
important information.
This is what I'm taking out of the cast today. This is what,
Ja Rocker says, do you pair your beer and wine with your food? Or do you pair your food with your beer and wine? I've always found it odd that restaurants will offer drink compliments on the menu, but you're expected to order before you drink. Or wait, you're expected to order your drink first.
Okay, yes, you order like an appetizer drink. You're like, hey, I'm just
Yes.
here. I'm going to start with this.
Holtz
You
is
know, and
100%
then-
here.
And then once you order your food, you also say, hey, I would also like this drink with it. Because you can't, there's not like one designated time that you're like slotted in to order drinks and everything after that, you're fucked. You're
I
not-
want
you're
a menu
you're not locked
reading
in.
drink. Like before I even start
Mm.
perusing the menu for my food choice, I would like to have a drink in hand.
Hmm.
Which drink
Mhm.
is best to read the menu, sir?
I'm a beer guy, but I'm sure everybody has their own preference.
Generally something light.
A
Generally
shot of
something
vodka. Got it.
Yeah.
fucking
drink. It
just
doesn't
I want a pint of Jaeger. You know, start off light.
I don't feel qualified to answer that question at all because I'd just start with beer and stay on beer, and it's not something I ever make a conscious decision to move away from.
Yeah, I don't really go to
Maybe-
very fancy restaurants where there's like all kinds of wine that's gonna like pair with certain meals or whatever.
No.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
No.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to feel grown up for a night, you know?
Yeah, it sounds really expensive too, honestly.
I
Depends on
think things like
place.
that, and then I have to do my taxes, and then I realize being a grown up sucks.
Watts,
$100 for
I'd
wine?
order at
Oh.
McDonald's or something.
Okay, look, here's the
100%.
thing. We're YouTubers. So just record it and put a video up of it. Now it's a tax and now it's a tax
mukbang.
write-off. Done.
Perfect.
Mm.
Perfect.
Also
Fancy
like,
restaurant wine drinking.
yeah, what I'd recommend is going to a place that has a set menu, not somewhere where it's like, here's our like 5 items that you can have for entree. Here's like a bunch of appetizers and stuff. Like go to a place where it's like, here is the thing that you can have. Here is
Oh,
our-
100% agree. If you find a restaurant like that, usually it's for a good reason that they're only serving one meal for the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And it's usually
and
like a 5-course dish.
True, true.
Yeah,
Or a 5-course
like-
meal.
yeah, I went to one place that was an 8-course thing, and then you also had the option to pay like I think it was like $100, and you also had a drink pairings for
Yeah.
every single thing
Yeah,
that came out.
these places
which-
aren't cheap,
Yeah, no,
but
it
they're
was
usually
the,
really fucking good.
the
Yeah.
entire meal was I think like 250 a head, basically. But you know, if you wanted to be fancy for a
There you
night
go.
and do the proper drink pairings
Yeah.
with everything,
Yeah.
you fucking
It's
go all out.
not a every night kind of thing or a weekly kind of thing, but for like a special
Mhm.
night out, it's pretty fun.
Or just order lots of sake. Mm.
And it
They're
introduces
so
you
drunk.
to things that you might not have tried on your own.
Mhm.
You know,
True.
sake is good too. I'm with Watts.
I don't think
Clue
you're gonna
says,
get many
is Taco
arguments.
Tuesday a thing? Should every day be Taco Tuesday? What about Ramen Monday? R and
See,
M
see,
are
that's
two
the
different
thing
letters,
is-
my friend.
Yeah.
That's the problem is the ramen place I went to in Woodinville was closed on Mondays, so I couldn't have ramen Mondays.
Ramen,
no ramen
er
Monday.
day.
Day?
Ramen.
Er day.
Per day.
That means every day. Ramen er day.
Taco Tuesday is a thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to abide every Tuesday, but when you do abide, feel like you're doing a little extra for the world happiness, you know?
Yeah. You know?
I'm just wondering where the hell Ferrari Friday is, okay? Brian?
Please, Briar.
It is Friday today for you guys.
It
right?
is Friday.
Yeah, it is Friday. Yeah.
It
Where's
is
my
Friday.
Ferrari?
Come on,
I've
Briar.
been waiting for
Make
this.
some dreams come true, man. Jesus.
Hey, actually,
I would like to
it
right
is
now
May the
encourage
4th.
everybody to subscribe to Briar Rabbit on YouTube. Let's make Ferrari Friday a thing. Just watch the whole back catalog.
Load up a playlist. Watch all the ads. Thank you.
Leah's No Pro says, if you were arrested with no explanation, what would your friends assume you did? So, okay, I
Oh,
like
this
this
is
question
hard.
because it's funny,
Yeah.
but I think we got to switch it up because, you know, we can't have everybody answer for everybody. So let's go in a circle. Okay, so let's everybody look at the Twitch broadcast and everybody answer for the person.
Oh
your
god, I
left.
can't do that. It's too much. I got a cat on my desk. I can't load that up right now.
So
My left.
Watts, if I got arrested, and I called you, I said, "Hey, I'm in jail." What? And I didn't tell you what I did. What would you assume I did?
I would assume that you blew up your friend's pirate ship with a barrel.
Safe assumption. All right, so Log, Miss 5,000 watts. It's midnight. She calls you up out of the blue. She's like, "Look, I'm in jail. I need you to bail me out." And then,
Very out of the blue, man.
the phone gets hung up. Like you have no idea what she does. What did she do?
She filmed a glow stick dance.
Yes.
To put it on
Oh,
video.
I did try and do that.
Yeah, at the Maid Cafe.
I tried to do that the first time.
There are severe punishments for that.
Was it a copyrighted glow stick dance?
It's
Well, I imagine they all are.
Okay.
My turn.
Yeah, Brian, you're gonna have to
Patrick.
correct it.
Patrick, Log calls you up.
Okay, he was probably visiting America, because why the fuck else would he be calling me? He
They
visited
don't even
America.
have police in
and-
Australia, do they?
they don't have
yeah,
police. They just have kangaroos that walk around with a bat.
Yeah. Kangaroos dispensing justice on the streets.
So yeah, Log probably calls me up. He's like, I met some people at a bar. We got to talking, and they were really great. I thought they were my friends. Called him a cunt, and then everything went south.
There it is. We got on the podcast finally.
There we go.
Yeah.
There it is.
Someone clip that.
It was still me
all right,
saying it,
Tefty?
though, technically,
So I'm
wasn't
saying
it?
what Holtz
Patrick.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Holtz calls you up from jail.
Huh.
Bail me out. Collect call. Shuts off.
Man, there's so many options. Let's see. I guess I'm gonna go with some obvious. All right. He got into a crawdad eating contest. All right. He didn't agree with some of the shady rules that were going on. Got really drunk and angry. They kicked him out, and he got kicked out because he was in the middle of getting naked at the crawdad eating place. Kicked that on straight. Ended up streaking all while eating some ramen as well at the same time, and so that's why they arrested him. He was streaking in the middle of the street after a crawdad eating contest.
I don't get naked drunk. I've never gotten naked drunk before.
Well,
Not
this
yet.
you see,
Patrick's
this
just naked all the time.
This particular situation, you did actually. So
Oh,
because you
shit. All
you
right.
called me up.
Patrick becomes Florida man.
There-
Yeah. You don't remember being naked when you're drunk. If you get naked when you're drunk, that's not something you
Maybe
wake up
you were
and go.
naked in Japan.
You're like, oh yeah, of course, and that happened.
So, Tefty calls me
Okay,
up.
I call you up. I'm in jail. I need you to bail me out.
I'm in jail. Come bail me out. And I just have to assume, where is he? What did he do? I'm going to assume that his RNG was just super lucky.
Ooh.
He's walking through the airport.
Okay.
Somebody just dropped something in his bag. Something really good.
$1 million?
Something real.
But the
Hang
TSA
on.
didn't think it was that good.
Magic the
That
Gathering
TSA
cards.
had a super big problem with it.
Okay. Well, like,
So they pick him up. They bring him in. And Tefty's in jail.
so I had like
Good RNG.
what was in the bag? Drug money?
Let's go with peyote.
Peyote.
Wow.
Wow. My goodness. Well, that's what it is.
I think this is our last question. Last question of the night comes from Real Good Real Sherry's Berries related. I just saw in chat. Real Good Murph says, if you don't replay Bless the Darkness by Tefty and Memes over and over after the first time hearing it,
Wow.
you're crazy, right?
Wow.
Is that a Destiny reference? Is that
This
a
is
Destiny reference to that
Tefty's
title?
new album, Tefty and Memes' new album that they've only released on YouTube so far.
It was on
It's
YouTube
not
and
on-
Bandcamp.
is it on
It's
SoundCloud as
going to
well?
be on
It's on Bandcamp.
yeah,
It's on Bandcamp.
Bandcamp and YouTube. If you're going to check it out, I recommend checking out the YouTube video because you can see it being performed with the knobs
cool.
and all that. You know what's funny is my mom, like, that's the least, like, that's the song that she's like, you guys should have taken that off the album.
Really?
I'm dead serious. She was like, I don't really.
Home truths.
She's like,
home truths like only a mother can dispense.
yeah, it's hardcore, honestly. Like she's obviously a fan of what we do and all that, but like that song, she's like, gotta be honest, it's not. I don't think it should go on this record. I'm not a fan of it.
That's not it.
It's really
Your
funny.
mom is literally the chief. She said it's not it.
So that's amazing. Thank you for checking that out and being a fan of that song. That's very kind of you. It is interesting. There's been a lot of different people who've said certain favorites. So I feel like that's really cool that like there's been not one singular song in there.
Hey, if everyone has a different favorite, then the song is each song is a favorite to somebody, which says it's pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
That is a good sign.
Pretty cool,
right?
honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good sign.
I've only gotten to listen to the first 3 songs because I've been traveling like a shit ton since the album came out. I haven't been able to like just sit down and listen to it. But I gotta say, I was super like having met Memes.
Yeah.
And, like having had a conversation with Memes, hearing her voice like singing, it never fails to impress. Like,
dude, yeah,
it really is. It's astounding. And like the first 3 songs, all 3 of them, I absolutely adored.
Thanks, man.
So I'm really looking forward to listening to the rest of the album. I don't even know how many songs are on the album.
It's 7. It's like 6 really, because the first one's like an intro. It's like 28 minutes. That's what it ended up clocking in as, which is a lot of fun for us because again, we're not doing it like a standard overdub type of situation. We wanted to have it all. We originally wanted to actually perform the entire record on Twitch, and that was going to be the record or the album. And then we realized that was too much effort initially.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's biting off a little more than we can handle right now. So, but the essence was wanting to do like 3 takes for each song and then make that the thing. So yeah, Memes has quite the vocal powerhouse. She'll never admit
I think
it's
it was
either.
the 3rd song. I don't know the name of it, but I really like the lyrics as well. I think it was the 3rd song. It might have been the 2nd song. I really liked it.
Thanks, Briar. I appreciate it, man.
That's it. That's all the Twitter questions.
Awesome.
Hey.
Go fuck off, you cunts.
That's the second one. Excellent.
It just sounds so harsh when we say it.
It does.
No.
We don't say it right.
I'll admit, I don't get salty too often on stream, and I'll obviously run a relatively PG-13 stream. There's been a couple times though that I have dropped the C word, and it's playing Souls games. Yeah, Maria. I called Maria a huntress after many salty deaths. So, yeah.
I threw a few out in Sekiro.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's, like mean ones, not just using it as a space filler. It's kind of what happens. Like I'm mean to call you this. Yeah. Oh, well. I can't help but feel like I might have dragged the tone down somewhat.
Definitely not.
Oh,
definitely not.
We have been much where we've been. When there's nothing to talk about, that's when the podcast gets real fiery.
Yeah, that's when we have good episodes.
That's when Pope says, "Stop it." You're gonna
Pope
get
gets
fired
super nervous
from
when we
being
have
a
nothing to
teacher.
talk about, and the rest of us get real excited about it.
Yep.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in tonight to the 134th episode DCP. If you want to find more of me, I am at Holtzman _YT on Twitter, and you can find me there.
Streaking the streets, eating ramen.
That sounds like a great way to not be on that platform anymore. Eating ramen, yes. Eating crawfish, maybe if I can find them, but no streaking.
I mean, you
I'm
can do
Briar
it with a
Rabbit. You
camera
can find
your
me
head.
on Twitch. It's been a while, to be honest with you, since I've been on Twitch, but you can find me there eventually. I'll be back. Just look for Briar Rabbit. YouTube, I just put up a YouTube video. You can find Briar Rabbit on YouTube. I just made a Borderlands 3 video. Or talk to me on Twitter at the Briar Rabbit.
I am Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter and catch my streams twitch.tv/Tefty Teft.
And I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts.
Do I go now?
Please.
Yes, please do.
I'm Logpowerslave, and I'm Logpowerslave everywhere that I am, unless I'm not. So probably Twitter is the best place to find me. I'm pretty active on there, and anything I do more or less gets posted there. So, yep, that'll do.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on and joining us.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for being on,
Thank
man.
you for coming on, man. It has been a lot of fun.
And
Thanks
you
for
for
having me.
listening. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.